Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can. No, no, it's a good start.
All right, I think you can hear me now.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right. Hello, welcome everyone. What a start. Welcome everyone to the 1K subscribers celebration show. It's an end of season review. We're going to do a different format tonight. So we're going to have 3 separate parts. First part is going to be myself and Luke, who will be the co-host. A few guests come on about their team. Luke will have his input, and we will start off the show talking with Luke about Tottenham. 8 o'clock, Jay will come in. A few guests with Jay between 8 and 8:50, and then finally Phil. Yes, Phil is going to be coming on for the third part. He actually is going to be on a late show. He might be dogging. It'll be the same format. Talk about Palace, and then a few guests will come on. The common theme is after I talk to each person about their team, we will go very quickly 1 minute reveal their team of the year. So me and Luke will talk about Tottenham. He will give his team of the year, and then my first guest will come on, and vice versa. So we wanted to try something a bit new instead of having 9 people or 10 people on the screen at once. Gives everyone a little bit of a fair chance. A few people have pulled out, but we still have a packed show with some guests on. Apart from Jay, Luke, and Phil, they're all going to be a surprise. So we do have a few comments. Laura saying hi, Luke.
Oh, Laura, you got my name right.
So Luke, before we crack on, how have you been? It's been a while. You been all good, mate?
Yeah, well, apart from the football, but yeah, other than that, everything going all right.
Good. So obviously we will go straight into Tottenham. A very disappointing season. I think it was a lot of fans and a lot of people predicted Tottenham to have a good season. What they did in the summer, they thought top 4 would be a bang on. I think I was one of them. But just your overall thoughts about the season, Luke. Really, what was negatives? What was positive? Was there any?
I think towards the end we saw some decent football being played, which is something that was missing throughout the season. But I think there was a lot of factors in how the season went. There was Conte losing friend after friend after friend in the space of about 3 months, which didn't help him mentally. I don't think. We struggled with some injuries. Bentancur obviously was a massive loss. Basuma got injured as well. Although Basuma he doesn't fit into a Conte system. He likes to be free. And yeah, it seemed there's the whole winning the transfer window thing. We did well. I thought we did well in the transfer window. I thought we made some good signings. Perisic seemed to struggle, which was odd. Playing under Conte, a manager that he's played under before and played well. I don't know whether that was just adapting to the league or him and Son just overlapping too much, not really understanding their roles. But yeah, I do. I think we at least ended on a positive against Leeds. That's one thing to say, is that we ended on a positive. We played some better football. But yeah, there's not many positives obviously you can say about the season.
It's Bentancur. I think it went downhill once he got injured. Is that a fair assessment?
He was a massive loss. He was a massive loss. It didn't help that then the options were Skip and Højbjerg, who are far too similar in their roles.
I don't think Skip's good enough, personally.
I think Højbjerg was lacking at this season. I thought he flourished under Mourinho. I thought he played really well, one of our best players, in fairness. But I think from what I've seen personally from Højbjerg, don't get me wrong, I don't think Skip's fantastic, but he's still a young man. I think he can still develop. But from what I saw from Højbjerg, he seemed to be hiding from the ball a lot. Didn't seem that willing to take it. A lot of pointing, a lot of shouting, not too much running, which is what you sort of expect from him. So it's a tough one, but I think regardless of who you think is better or worse, I think they are far too similar. to play together in a two-man midfield. There's no creativity there. You get the odd pass every now and again. We saw that Højbjerg done it, Skip done it once each maybe, but there wasn't that willingness to take the ball and to drive through. Yeah, if it was there, which you saw from Bentancur, which I used to see from the likes of Moussa Dembele, just that willingness to take a man on if it was needed, and that coolness under pressure. And I don't think either of them have that. And we saw that more so with Bissouma.
It didn't work out, did it? He just didn't look the player, did he?
Again, I think with Conte, he likes his players to fit within his very rigid system, and you have to have the players for that system. And Bissouma is not that player. Bissouma is not the player to tell you stay there, you do this. He likes to be a little bit of a box to box. He likes the free flow, and he will be there, but his route of getting there might be a little bit different to what the likes of Conte wants. And you sort of have to let him do his thing a little bit. So I think the reins were put on him, and I think that's why he struggled.
I've got a couple of questions from the comments. I'll get to them in a minute. Just I want to talk about Harry Kane. Obviously, he's your player of the season. I don't have to ask that. It's a bit obvious for me, unless you want to surprise me. 30 goals in a poor Tottenham side. Why does he go under the radar so much? And why does he get disrespected like he does?
I think he only does from either clueless or jealous fans of other teams. I think for an actual football fan and for an honest football fan, I don't think anyone can put down his accomplishments other than, okay, he hasn't won a trophy, and yeah, he's sometimes not well. He hasn't turned up in finals, so I allow that sort of criticism of him. But 30 goals this season, he was phenomenal.
Go over the dig.
30 goals this season in our team. I know obviously Haaland's had a fantastic season, 36 goals, but Haaland would not score 30 goals in that Tottenham team.
No,
I think
exactly.
Kane could score. I think Kane could score 36 goals easily in that City team. I still think Kane's the best striker in the league. Maybe Haaland is the best out-and-out goal scorer, but in terms of overall play, Kane is tops for me. And I think he scored 30 of our 61 points. He was responsible for 30 of our 61 points this season. So it may genuinely be that without him, we may have been looking at a Chelsea situation or worse.
I've got two questions, quick ones. First off, is Kane staying? And who do you want and who do you think will be the next manager?
Sorry, say that again, mate.
Is Kane staying? And regarding the next manager, who do you want or who do you think is going to come in?
I think it would be completely irresponsible to let Kane leave this summer. I know it's the case of, he's only got a year left, so you lose him on a free. I think the money that we would lose by letting him go this summer would be far beyond any transfer fee. When you look at what he brings to the team, first of all, to replace him, you're not only having to replace a striker, you're having to replace a playmaker, a creator. He's not just a striker. It's his all-around game. The way he played against Leeds, he was absolutely phenomenal. Just in everything he did. He just taking men on. He's not even got the pace to do it, but he just does it. His touch is so spot on that he can just do it. And I think even if we got offered 100 million for him, which no one's going to pay that for a 29-year-old and year left on their contract, or if they would, it's ridiculous. Even if we did take that, it would not be worth it because he solidifies that team. Even if he only takes next season and then he goes somewhere else, that's fine. That's up to him. I can understand that. Not if he does a Poch and goes to Chelsea, but I could understand him moving. Yeah, I did see. I did see
We got a
Christmas card.
question, so I was going to
Yeah,
ask you in a sec.
yeah, yeah. I think
So who's next manager?
who's going to be the next manager? That's a tough one. That's a tough one. I wanted Nagelsmann personally. Um, I wanted Nagelsmann. I was hesitant on Slot from Feyenoord. And then as things seemed to progress, I was getting a little bit more positive about it. But I was mainly of the mindset it's Nagelsmann, and if it's not Nagelsmann, then just give it to Mason. Because
What about Thomas Frank?
I don't know why he would.
Yeah, and not that at the
Personally,
moment.
I
No,
don't
not
I
at all.
don't know why he would. That it would be pointless. It would be Potter going to Chelsea. Why would you?
Yeah.
The only thing that could happen, most likely, was he would be made to look a mug, which is kind of what happened with Potter.
Yeah.
Because the setup and everything that Brighton has, De Zerbi walked in, made him, he got him playing even better. Obviously, you were critical of Potter all along anyway, and I'd just like to wind you up about it.
Because I look like
But
him.
yeah, but yeah, I think there's no upside to it because I think Brentford's in a similar vein to Brighton in that it's about the setup they've got. Obviously, Tony's going to be a massive loss, so you've got to try and figure that out. But yeah, I don't see any upside for him doing that.
I got two questions, very quick ones. First off, you've seen it. What's your opinion on that?
Um, Again, like Mackie says, really, he's on the fence. I'm torn with it. Um, I think the thing is, I get it that we didn't approach him. He was out of a job. It's a managerial position. I get that. But then from comments that he said in the past, where he said that he would never manage Barcelona because of his Espanyol links, and then obviously that would rule him out of Arsenal. But then he also claimed that Chelsea were bigger rivals to us than Arsenal were. So it's kind of like you've admitted you've just gone to one of our biggest rivals. So you can say you love the club and everything else, but then at the same time, I don't know. It's difficult because he's unemployed or he was unemployed. There's a position there for a manager's job. What else is available? And he's taking it. So
Can't
at the
blame him
end of
for
the
that.
day, there's no So I mean, there's no real loyalties in football, is there? Not anymore. So um, yeah, on one side it annoys me, but then I don't. But then I never thought that he was an amazing manager.
Yeah. And just before
I
we
thought
bring
he
the
was a
first
good
guest
coach,
on,
but I never thought he was an amazing manager. And that, yeah, sorry, go on.
yeah, so just before we bring the first guest on, just a question from, well, it's Daddy Nadon. It's going to be from Phil, obviously. I'm on the show. Evening, guys. Was Conte actually working a miracle after all, given how it's panned out since he left? Was he working a miracle, or is it just the players not performing?
I think you could say so. Maybe last season, end of last season was phenomenal. In terms of this season, okay, there's we performed again against City, at least at home. But then we lost games that we shouldn't have done. It's really hard to know until we find some success in terms of easily making top four again. I don't want to say success as in trophies because obviously there's the whole trophies first, but it's going to be hard to know because there's obviously something wrong at the club. Just generally, there's a culture at the club. Mourinho blamed the players. Conte blamed the players.
It's Levy.
Yeah, but then is it all the players or is it also the managers? How much do you weigh what the manager brings to what the players bring? and who's it easier to just go, oh, it's the players.
That's it.
I think it's tough to. Nuno was a waste of time.
Yeah.
I think that was awful. But then, even then, that wasn't even Levy's decision. That was Paratici's. That was his call. He wanted Nuno.
Yeah.
So
that's it. It's something for another day, I reckon. I think we could dissect what's wrong at Tottenham, but you'd be Ferraris, Luke.
Well, that's the thing. It's that whole Levy's just step away from the footballing decisions. So we hired a director of football in Paratici, and then he made a couple of bad decisions. But then he's also responsible for us having Bentancur and Kulusevski. So you're never going to be batting 1,000 in football. It's never going to happen. There's always going to be amazing signings and poor ones. You just have to.
You can't always hit the one perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, you just have to get the balance right.
Okay, Luke. We'll do your team of the year at the end with the other guys that come on shortly. We're just going to bring on a guest very quickly. He's going to talk Tottenham. It's my brother, Robert Jones. Welcome back to the show, Rob. Obviously, you've been listening to Luke talk about Tottenham. How are you, Rob? You all good?
Yeah, I'm good.
I appreciate you coming on last minute. I know you're going to just jump on for a bit. So I'll ask you a couple of questions regarding Tottenham. Very similar. How disappointed are you with finishing 8th this year?
Very disappointed. Weren't very happy with it. I was watching the game by Tottenham TV, and I think we played very well. Then when I saw Brighton score, I wasn't happy.
Because did you want 8th place? Did you want European football, or would you rather finish 8th? European football is good.
Yeah.
Okay. What would you give the season out of 10?
7.
You still say 7? That's a bit generous.
It 4. I'll give it a 4.
Why 7, Rob? Do you reckon it weren't as bad as what you think, or are you just being generous?
I've been generous.
It could be worse. You could be Everton.
I was so begging. I was such a Bournemouth supporter that day.
Well, Luke, our dad and the brother are an Everton fan, so Rob's got a vendetta against Everton. Rob, we heard talking about Harry Kane. How good is Harry Kane, and how much does he need to stay?
Well, we really need to keep him at the team as long as we can, because he's doing very well. He's our leading scorer. He's our all-time scorer. He is.
So he's vital. He's very vital, isn't he?
Yes. Plus he has a good partnership with Song.
Yeah. But they're both getting on, Rob. They're both getting on. Luke, is there anything you want to add to Tottenham before we move on?
There's not really much to say. I think
just sit in it. It's all right. We've got a Chelsea fan coming on in a minute, so it's going to get worse.
You brought up European football, and Levy's already planted the seed that the budget is not going to be what it was last year due to the fact that there's no European football. So it's it's not doesn't bode well, let's say.
Well, why I've got you both here, we'll get this out of the way. Rob, have you got your team of the season? Do you want to just read it out quickly?
Yeah, hang on. I saved it to my phone, so I remembered it.
Okay, what? You got it?
No, delete. My phone's froze.
All right, I'll go to Luke first. Luke, you want to go through your team of the year, mate? Just run through it very quickly.
So first in goal, I struggle with this, to be honest, the goalkeeper.
Yeah.
It would have been Ramsdale, but I thought he had a couple of shaky moments towards the end of the season, and that just and then he was Arsenal as well, so he would have been he would have been 100% for his first sort of 3 quarters of the year. But I went with David Raya from Brentford in goal.
Yeah.
For goalkeeper. Right back, Kieran Trippier. Centre back, I went with Martinez. I think he deserves some credit.
Overrated player. Carry on.
Other centre back, I went with William Saliba. I thought he was crucial to you lot. Left back, I went with Estupiñán from Brighton.
We've got quite a few players similar at the moment, Luke.
Have we?
We've got everyone apart from Martinez. Yeah, carry on.
Okay. I went with Rodri in the midfield. I think Rodri's been. You got Rodri as well.
Yeah, carry on.
I went so midfield. I went Rodri, De Bruyne, Odegaard, Saka.
Yep.
And then up front, I went with 2 up front: Haaland and Kane.
The 11 same players. Rob, have you got your team?
Yeah, I went with a 4-3-3.
Yeah, carry on then.
Goalkeeper is Ensign. Right back, Trippy.
Yeah.
You've gone very quiet, Graham.
Yeah, I can hear you. Carry on.
Yeah. Centre back. I wrote down, but I can't really announce it properly.
Who is it? Is it Saliba?
That would be it.
Yeah. And then who's next to him?
Then it's Duncan.
Dunk. Yep. And then left back.
Fucking Z player from Arsenal.
Oh, Shevchenko.
Yes, that'd be the idiot.
Yeah. And then in the midfield, who you got in the midfield?
Well, I went with Rodney, Kevin De Bruyne, and Odegaard, yes.
Yeah. And up front?
I went with Tony, Haaland, and Kane.
Good lad, Rob. Thank you very much. Luke, you stay on, buddy. Rob, I really appreciate you coming on. Anything else you want to add before you go?
I hate Everton.
Good. What about next year? Do you think Tottenham have a chance next year, honestly?
I have 2 things for next year. Right, Tottenham to get European football.
Yeah.
Everton to be relegated.
Well, good luck with that, Rob. Thank you very much for coming on, and we'll see you soon.
See you soon. Bye.
Thanks, Rob.
Cheers, Rob.
Bye.
Thanks again, mate. Stay tuned and watch the channel. All right. So we are on time. I'm doing quite well at the moment. So I'm now going to bring my 2 guests on for the next 20 minutes. One's a Newcastle fan, one's a Chelsea fan. Coming back to the channel, first appearance in quite a while. It's Chelsea fan Luca. Hello, mate. How are you? Can you hear me? We can't hear you. You sort that out while I introduce the next person, making his debut to a live show, though he's a regular when it comes to predictions. He is from Newcastle. It is the Newcastle fan. It's Andrew the Bear. Hello, mate.
Hi, mate. You all right?
Yeah, good. Luca, can we hear you now?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can, mate. We can hear you now. All right, so we're going to start with a positive note. We're going to go with Newcastle first. So don't worry, Luca, we will come to you guys. How it's going to do, we're going to ask you a few questions. Luke's going to just have a few, a bit of a comment on both of them, and then we're going to go for your teams of the year. So start with you, Andrew. What a season. You can't honestly say you thought you were going to get top 4. Just your overall views on the season as a whole.
Oh, mate, absolutely brilliant. Considering when you look 18 months ago, we were relegation fodder, no one gave us a chance. I mean, even myself going into the season, I would hope for top 8, would have settled for European Conference at a push. But the fact that we got top 4 and we're comfortable top 5 team all season, I agree with what some of the pundits were saying. Yes, we're 2-3 years probably ahead of where we should be. Obviously, the downside of it, we're going to be in the group of death in the Champions League. But I'd be very surprised if we get out the group. But it is what it is. We just take it as it is. It's great just to have Champions League football back on Tyneside after 20 years. And we're doing ostensibly the fact that we haven't spent a great deal compared to some teams. And
you still spent enough, though. But I know what you mean.
Yeah.
You haven't spent Chelsea money.
Yeah. But obviously, I think Ashworth and how we're doing it quite sensibly, try and keep doing it in fits and starts to keep them with FFP rather than going full out like Man City or Chelsea spending like 700 million in one hit. But yeah, fantastic season from where we were when Howe took over, and I can't give the guy enough praise for what he's done there.
Regarding next year, how vital is it to bring players in?
Oh, definitely. I mean, look at when we got knocked out of the FA Cup by Sheffield Wednesday. We rotated the squad, and the squad just looked disjointed. we definitely need some quality in depth. I mean, towards the end of the season, it proved when we had likes of, long. Even I would never think I'd say this 2 years ago, but losing Longstaff in midfield.
No,
I mean, considering where he was, because I was being this.
Martinez now Longstaff. Carry on, sorry. Carry on.
I mean, but even prove when even when Isaac was out around the World Cup time and Wilson wasn't hitting form, we needed firepower up front. So I definitely think Destin squad. I mean, I know we've been linked with bringing Tierney at left back, and obviously we've still got Target and that young lad from West Ham. The fact that we played Dan Burnt left back in the full season just proves how bad our depth is in some places.
Yeah, listen, you've done great this year, and nothing to take away from it. You've done really well. Do you have a performance of the year, a team performance? Is there one result that sticks out for you? Has to be one game, surely. It's got to be a game with a pundit here who supports that team where you scored. Yeah, go on, talk about it.
I think everyone would probably go for the 5-1 Spurs game just for the fact that first half we were just untouchable.
Yeah, we'll say it was 5-1.
But I think
6-1.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm giving
6-1. You forgot yourself. Carry on.
But I think overall, even some of the games, even you look back at the beginning season, the 3-3 draw against Man City, the fact that we went 3-1 up, yes, we threw the game away, but still, even like against Liverpool at home, our dark art tactics came back and bit us in the ass. Fair enough, and we lost it. But I think just overall, there's a lot of games that you can look at, and just the overall team performance compared to last year, considering when you look at some of the starting lines we've had, about half the players were there what Bruce had, and compared to how Howe's got them performing to what Bruce has, just fantastic.
Who's you've got a lot of players that you can flag up here. There was so many players that you could name player of the season. But for you, who is Newcastle's player of the season?
I'd have to go Trippier. Just the fact that, I was looking at a few stats earlier, and when you looked at as a right back, he's whipped in like nearly 400 crosses, which is like 200 better than anyone else. He's been pivotal from the day when he came. But I could also say, Joe Linton's been absolutely phenomenal in midfield for us. Yeah. Miggy, at the beginning of the season, only dropped off of injury, but yeah, I'd probably go for Trippier.
And I just want to flag up Bruno Guimaraes. That guy's brought that quality in that midfield. What does he bring to this team? Because I know it's a team game, but for me, I think he's one of the reasons, and probably Isaac, they bring that bit of quality when you need it to win games.
Oh, yeah, I mean, when you look at him, I know obviously he dropped off towards the end of the season, and, I've seen some reports that apparently his last 4 or 5 games he was playing with his ankle injury, needs operation, but you look at before the World Cup, some of the passes and chances he was creating, obviously he brings that nice Brazilian flair that we've probably not had in the centre park for God knows how long. But he's also solid midfield. He doesn't mind getting in with the tackles, getting dirty, tracks back. And like you say, he's one of them players when you look back at like Gerrard, Scholes, back in there, one quick pass can change the game, create a chance, you go score a goal, game's totally different because of likes of his quality in the middle of the park.
And just very quickly before we go to Luke, Eddie Howe, how I know you've already touched on it, but Eddie Howe surely managed the year, isn't he, Andrew?
For me, I mean, I sort of biased, but yeah, I think when you take out like Arteta and Pep, because you'd expect them two teams to be up there anyway, but no one would have expected Eddie Howe to have got us to where we are in such short time, considering, like I say, half a team there still what Bruce had. But the fact that him and the coaching staff have managed to turn players like Joe Linton into £40 million flops to absolute solid midfield players and got the team believe himself. For me, yeah, definitely manager of the season for what he's done.
Great, Andrew, we'll come back to you in a minute. Luke, before we go to Chelsea, just your thoughts on Newcastle. What have they done that you haven't been able to do this year? Why have they been so impressive?
Well, I think they strengthened the right areas for a start.
Yeah.
I think. Sorry, you were asking me, not Luca.
Yeah, I was asking you, Luke.
Yeah.
Luca, don't worry about you don't need to worry about Newcastle, Luca. We'll talk about shit Chelsea in a minute. Go carry on, Luke.
Yeah, I think they strengthened in the right areas. They bought smart. They kept a foundation that they built on. and then just strengthened. And obviously, I think Eddie Howe's done a very good job. And I think a lot of people were talking about Eddie Howe being a stopgap for them to then move on to challenge for the title or do this or do that. But I think he's shown that he should be given that opportunity to try to get them there. And I think the owners should take confidence from what he's done this season.
Let's not forget Jason Tyndall. Fucking wanker. Luca, you wanted to talk about Newcastle. Why have Newcastle been so good?
Well, what I was going to say is that they haven't spent 600 million and brought in a whole new squad straight away with no chemistry or anything. Brand new two new managers, 3 managers in one season. Just haven't had any time to, actually connect with a manager, each player. Thomas Tuchel should never have got sacked in the first place. I know it was something behind the scenes, but I never thought Graham Potter was the man to come in. He was doing well at Brighton anyway. So I know Brighton finished. Where did they finish? Was it 6th?
6th, yeah.
Yeah, Brighton finished 6th, so did well with their manager. But as soon as he came in, I knew he wasn't the man. Frank Lampard. Last few games for the rest of the season, I'll take it. But as well, Pochettino, I don't know. After what he did at Tottenham, I don't know. It's a bit worrying, but I'll take it. I'd rather have him than Potter anyway. But yeah, Newcastle definitely done. Everyone's done better than Chelsea. It's just been a flop of a season. We pretty much played how Arsenal played in the past few years. So,
here we go.
Yeah.
Regarding the season as a whole, obviously it's no surprise. It's not going to be positive. I don't mean that as a mug off. But why has it gone wrong? What's gone wrong? And I know you've already touched on it, but why has it been such a bad season?
I think it's just everything's happened all at once. I think it's just, obviously we've had a brand new owner. We've had Todd Bowley come in. We've had 3 different managers come in this season. We've had a heck load of players come in, all spent together about 600, 700 million. It's just everything's happened at once. There's been no time for everyone to relax and get to know each other and to settle in. It's been like, this has happened straight away. Get on with it. Get it done. And I hope that next season, with Pochettino starting the season, to get to know everyone, everything's going to start settling in. All the players, obviously starting to get to know each other, but starting with Pochettino's tactics, like the start of the season, whoever's coming, they start to get used to whatever Tuchel wants to do. Then it's Potter. And now it's Frank Lampard who's done I don't know if I can
doesn't help, though, does it? It doesn't help, though, does it? The fact that you've had all these managers, all this difference in, all these new players.
Yeah, I know. It's just no one's played for the club. I think I can't name one player that's actually played for the badge.
I was gonna say one player has been decent this year. Maybe not all the
Thiago Silva.
Yeah. That'd be the next question. Why has he stepped up while everyone else has disappeared?
I don't know. Half of the time he hasn't even been starting games, which is a bit debatable. Frank Lampard's starting lineups have been really debatable. The amount of talent we've got, I know, but the amount of talent it's like City. City have got an amazing bench, but on our side, we've got talent on the bench, but no talent on the starting lineup. It's been really debatable how he's been playing these lineups, even putting like Kante in the front 3 or something like that. I think he did at one point.
Yeah,
it was either him or Potter, but that was debatable.
I think against Brentford, they played like a really defensive team.
Even starting, I've rated Conor Gallagher before this season. This season he's been terrible, and he's been starting nearly every game for Lampard, which again is debatable. He must be doing something in training, which we can't see, which we haven't been seeing. It's just, Thiago Silva's been no player I think has been good for us, but Thiago Silva has been the best of what we've got.
Well, let's talk about the signings. In the January transfer window in particular, why did they do that at that time? Do you reckon that sort of was one of the reasons why Chelsea couldn't get going, especially Potter? Thinking the signings you made, couldn't they just wait till the summer? I think you would have been better off.
I didn't think we'd be spending this much money and getting this amount of players in halfway through the season. You've disappeared, but
okay, carry on. It's fine.
All right. Yeah, I honestly
didn't. On that camera.
what's I saying? Yeah, I don't know why Todd thought it was a good idea to spend this much money and get this amount of players in halfway through the season. I was pretty happy with what we had so far. And now we've got a massive squad. We need to get rid of some people. We even need to get rid of some of the new players that are coming because some of them are awful. Mudryk, yeah, I understand he hasn't been great, but with time, I think he's going to be great. He's got pace on him. He's got a lot of pace on him, but he just needs to connect with the other players well. Enzo Fernandez, a lot of people don't rate him, but I think he's been amazing. I think him, alongside Kovacic or even Kante, who I think staying, Kovacic has been all right. Those three, Kante, Kovacic, and Enzo, I think will be an amazing three in the midfield. I don't know how Pochettino is going to play his lineup, but I think he's a really good talent. I know a lot of people haven't seen it, but even playing for Argentina in the World Cup and some of our games, yeah, we haven't won them all, but I feel like he has been playing quite well. I think we could have waited. I don't know what's going to be bought. I don't know who's going to be bought in the summer. I'm assuming it's going to be hardly anyone because in January, we bought everyone.
You're going to buy more.
I know. We've got, what's his name? Is it... We've got another player coming in Nkuku.
Nkuku's a good player.
Nkuku, we got him coming in. I don't know what's next. I don't know. I think we're going to be getting rid of Hakim Ziyech because he was supposed to be going PSG.
Pulisic, Ziyech, they're off. They're going.
Yeah, Pulisic probably going. Mount, I think, is going to go. Loftus-Cheek. Yeah,
so you are going to get clear out.
Yeah. But then that would be Todd Bowley, then just getting that money in and spending that money again on stuff we don't need. I think we need a new goal. I think we need new everywhere. Joel Felix, I heard, I think the other day, has now gone back to Atletico. Yeah. I think we should buy him. I know he's a lot, but I honestly think we do need a forward. I know he's not technically a striker, but I think from what he's done with Chelsea, he's actually scored quite a few goals. He's been a decent player. He hasn't been scoring the goals, but he's getting the opportunities to score the goals. He hasn't been finishing well, but his dribbling is great. Like our second last game when he scored that goal, that was amazing. Defense-wise, we need a whole new defense. Half of them are injured.
Well, your defenders need to stay fit.
I know, half of them are injured. Reece James he's been out twice this season, I think. Yeah. And I think half of it was due to like depression or something. Chilwell out as well, and I don't know.
Can't stay fit. That's basically been Chelsea's season. Just no one has a clue. It's one of those seasons. Just scrap it off and you carry on. Luke, what do you think of Chelsea this year, Luke?
Phenomenal.
Thought you would say that.
I mean, at least we haven't been bottling our. At least we've been losing straight. At least we haven't been bottling our leads. I'd rather be losing straight from the front instead of winning and then go straight for it. Losing.
You've had your moment, Luke. Let me talk to my co-host, Luke. All jump to the side. Why has it gone so wrong for Chelsea this year?
It all stemmed from the fact that Abramovich had to sell the club. That's where it all stemmed from. Tuchel obviously had fallen out with Bowley. They didn't see eye to eye, so he got rid of him. And it just fell down from there. I think the signings are from Bowley; they're from no one else. And he doesn't know how to run a football club. He just thinks if he throws money at the wall, then that will get him success. But that's not the way it works. Newcastle have shown that there's a different way of doing things. Even Man City, you can say that they've thrown a lot of money at things, but they've done it in a certain way. They haven't just bought the next shiny player. So yeah, I just think there's no end goal other than buy players, win things. There's no ethos, there's no system, there's no project. It's just money, trophies. That's the only thought process. And I think they need to set out an actual plan on how they're gonna build from here.
Exactly. Andrew, before we get your team of the year, just are you grateful that Newcastle didn't do what Chelsea did? Because it could have been like Chelsea if you did that.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is why behind the stage, I think it's pivotal we got Ashworth in to have. I think you got him from Brighton. He done well at Brighton with the standards he's got from there and with work with their finances. So I think that was also pivotal. But yeah, I think I think as soon as we got the takeover, you could ask most Newcastle fans, they're probably hoping we would go out and spend like 600 million and bring likes of Mbappe and whatnot straight in. But that realistically happened, and I think we've done it well. I think Howe's done it well with working together with the board to say, right, I want this player, I want that player. Whereas Chelsea, I think, have just panicked and he's just tried to spend money to dig him out of the hole.
Doesn't work like that, does it? Chelsea, I think, listen, I'm at the N word on Chelsea. I think they'll be back next year. I think they'll finish top 4, maybe 5th. I think they have that quality in that team to be better than what they are. Time will tell if they're going to win the league. Maybe, you never know. Chelsea have done it before. But I don't really hate Chelsea. I just hate Spurs and Man United. Anyway, let's go. Guys, before you got to go, Luca and Andrew, I'll start with you, Luca, very quickly. Your team of the season, Luca.
Okay. Surprisingly, he's got no Chelsea players in it. I don't know why, but
that's a surprise.
I know. So in goal, I put Nick Pope. I think, wasn't it Pope and Edison that have the most amount of clean sheets? I think between the two. I haven't seen many Newcastle games, but from what I've seen, I thought he was a decent player or a decent goalkeeper. Right back as well, Newcastle, Kieran Trippier. He's been amazing all season. You won't be happy with this. Martinez centre back. Yeah, I know he's injured now, but I feel like from what I've seen when he's been playing,
what are you not watching? He got bullied by Tony. He got bullied by Eddie Nketiah. What are you not watching? He's crap. Carry on.
Ruben Diaz, is that a better for you?
Yeah, great one. He's not in my one, but he was going to be. But I just think he didn't play enough.
That's what I was thinking about Martinez. Obviously, he's been
he played enough
for the rest of the season.
He got bullied enough.
Yeah, and left back Zinchenko. Centre mid, I've got 3 centre mids. I've got Kevin De Bruyne, obvious reasons. Yeah, phenomenal all season. Odegaard, obvious reasons, and Rodri.
And that's a lot. So far, all 4 people have got the same. Well, I ain't said mine, but all 4 people got the same midfield three. Go on up front.
I was debating up front to go between Rashford or Kane, and I went with Rashford.
Not in that team. How is Kane not in the team? He scored 30 fucking goals.
Yeah, I got Haaland in there though.
Haaland,
got Haaland, Rashford, and Saka.
Andrew, very quickly, mate. You run through your 11.
I've gone 4-3-3. Obviously, went for Pope and goal between the sticks. Trippier. I went for a surprise one at Botman alongside him with Saliba and Zinchenko. Same midfield three as everyone else, KDB, Odegaard and Rodri. Up front, I've got a Haaland, Kane. And I was tempted to put Wilson in, but I went for Salah instead.
It's a good team. Both good teams. Guys, I really appreciate you all coming on. Luke, anything else you want to add before you depart us?
Yeah, no, Kane is unforgivable.
I know. To be fair,
it was a hard choice.
That is nuts. He scored 30 goals for Tottenham. And Tottenham is shit.
In 26 separate games. The most of any player.
Yeah. But Luke, thank you for coming on and co-hosting and being part of it. Really appreciate it. Luca, anything else you want to add before you depart?
I just hope next season is a much better season. It will be top 4 next season. No European football. We can focus straight on getting Champions League for the season after.
Great. And Andrew, thank you for making your debut and coming on. Anything you want to add?
Just hope, obviously, we carry on next season. And also, it was just nice to see Sunderland fuck up in the playoffs.
As good as always. Guys, I'm going to all move it now. If you carry on watching, that'd be fantastic. And thank you all for coming on. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. And see you all soon.
Bye.
Bye. And now, Mr. Jones is left with a new co-host. Ladies and gentlemen, I do have someone backstage who will come on in 10 minutes or 15 minutes. But now, the new co-host, of course, is Buckler Pickman. It's Jay. He's got a shirt on. Hey, mate, you all right?
And a scarf.
And a scarf, yeah. Where'd you get that from,
mate? We're end of season, mate, so I better not wear my work clothes for once. I am eating though, so
yeah.
Mate, I just heard those team of the seasons, and I'm fucking wetting myself. Rashford.
I know. I don't.
Ivan Toney's ahead of him, but Rashford. And I heard Zinchenko at left back. My God.
Zinchenko. I didn't.
I know you didn't.
Well, I haven't said mine, but I didn't. But anyway, Jay. Anyone who doesn't know what that means, apparently he looks like James Sarvosky. Anyway, we're going to we'll talk about Brentford, and then we'll go through your team of the year, and then we'll bring on the next guest in about, 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, about that. So basically, Jay, we spoke about last year. You said that there's opportunity to have a top 10 finish, and you were right all along. Why has it been such a good... Why have you put the middle finger to second season syndrome? Why have you done that? Tell me why Brentford are so successful at the moment.
I think the key word... I'm gutted I couldn't get on with Luke.
Oh, why? You want to bring him quickly on? We can say 3-1 to him. Carry on.
Why have we done so well? Adaptability.
Jay's getting roasted.
Fucking hell, I'll just go off.
Go on, carry on. We're all professional show, and Jay comes on, and everyone just starts acting stupid. Go on, carry on, buddy.
It's adaptability, isn't it? So I think we're always changing formation depending on the team we're playing. We're not fixed to play in one way. Whenever players come into the team, you don't notice that they've been replaced by someone. So, like, for example, Norgard, who's by far our best centre defensive midfielder, has been injured for, say, like the last 10 games, and Janelt slipped in there and kind of, not that anyone would notice, but yeah, he slipped in there and just carried on what we were doing before. Again, Ivan's been out last few games and Brian stepped up. So, yeah, I just think we've got a good depth of the same level of players. I'm not saying they're the best players, but I think they're all a very good level, whereas some teams, they lose their best players and the players that come in are a bit shitty compared to what was there before. So, yeah, being adaptable, playing 5 at the back when we need to, and also going for it when we need to.
And you talked about Ivan. We can have all the negative reports about him, all this bollocks. But as a player, I think he's one of the most underrated players in the league. Do you concur?
Yeah, mate. Obviously, I've watched him for 3 years now, and when we came up from the Championship, his all-round game has just improved. I said he was shit with the ball at his feet in the Championship. Just bagged goals because he just never left the 6-yard box because we were just so good going forward. Scored like 80+ goals or something, which is crazy. But yeah, he's just improved so much. Like technically, with the ball at his feet, he's just gone next level, which I think is why he is where he is.
And with Brentford, obviously, I support Arsenal, by the way, but I do follow. I do see how Brentford gets on, obviously, because of Doug, Laura, and Ella, and yourself, Jay. But there's a lot of unsung heroes in that team, and one of them for me is Rico Henry. For me, I think he's one of the best left backs in the league. Why does he constantly keep going under the radar? Because I don't see him I just don't see him have a bad game.
I think there's just a lot of fallback options for England, for example, and yeah, apart from that, I don't know. I hear on Match of the Day constantly people mention his name, like Rico Henry had another good game, but for whatever good reason for us, no one's kind of going, we want to buy him. And apart from a top 6 team, why would he leave, to be honest? And obviously the club obviously give him a good enough contract for not making him want to leave.
And again, Thomas Frank as the manager, what a job he's done there. He's getting better and better at this because again, he's not new at the job, but he's still someone who's relatively inexperienced at this level. You know, he's only his second year in the main league. The guy keeps getting better and better, and you've touched on it before about his flexibility, the way he can change it when it matters. Is that why you lot are so successful, because of him as well as just the players? Would you be as successful without Thomas Frank?
It's debatable, isn't it? But if you ever, obviously no one would, but when Brentford fans listen to Phil Giles do things, it's embedded in the club. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not just this is Thomas led. The whole club pushes in the same direction. So that's why we outperform, because obviously everyone sings off the same hymn sheet and we're all going in one way rather than battling between everyone. So I think the main success is the owner, Matthew Benham. Like by far, he is the fucking genius here. Don't get me wrong, he's probably ripped off Bloom, but Fucking hell, it's a scarf. All the virgins are getting excited.
He's stretching his cock.
I'll bring my 10 out of 10 wife out in a minute if you want, but
Yeah, you were saying about Brentford. Sorry, carry on.
oh, I said what I said, didn't it?
Yeah, you said what you said.
But no, it's because the owner, like whether he ripped off Bloom or not at Brighton, probably did, but yeah, it's all down to the owner and kind of Phil Giles as well. To be honest, he's a very good director of football.
Just a question from Chris McMahon. Let's read it out together. Brentford are similar to Brighton. May not have a huge... Oh, sorry, this is from Andrew. We'll do this one first. But quality manager at the helm and they're incredible. Seem to be doing well for them. Yeah, exactly. I think both teams are well run. As much as that hates me to say about Brighton, they have proved me wrong. And obviously Brentford, they've been doing it for 2 years now in the Premier League. And Mac has got a question for you. I'm giving Thomas Frank manager year. Next year, if Brentford aren't in the relegation zone when Tony comes back. So he's saying, thoughts on next season before Tony comes back, Jay? What is the plan for the Bees?
Well, I think everyone likes to call us a one-trick pony, but the games without Ivan, we've got a ridiculous amount of points for the teams that we've played. So I think it's a load of bullshit that I don't really need to listen to be honest. So saying like without Ivan we'll be in a relegation scrap. Look how many goals we conceded. Like defensively, we're set up well as well. So I think whoever we bring in will kind of step into those shoes, which is proved from before Ivan, because Ollie Watkins did the same, Neil Maupay did the same. We don't make players. We make players sometimes look a bit better than they are, especially in Maupay's situation. Watkins is obviously going on to do great things. Then Rama's a bit struggling at West Ham, not necessarily an out-and-out starter. And obviously Ivan is Ivan, and I think he could do it at any top 4 club. I think top 6 is probably a bit beneath him at the moment. I think he's a top 4 player, 100%.
Yeah, and Brian Mbemo, another guy that doesn't really get mentioned, but he started to show a bit of goal-scoring form near the end there, didn't he?
Oh, mate, I just fight with Brentford fans all the time. Some of them absolutely hate him because he does miss a lot of opportunities. But what I say to them is he's 23 years old. He's been with us since he was like 19. And he's done it ever since then. So, all right, he misses opportunities, but he's 23. He's got a lot of game left in him. 9 goals, 8 assists. That's fucking good for a 23-year-old who plays at Brentford, isn't it?
Who's your player this season, Jay?
Brentford player of the season?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ethan Pinnock, 100%. He is an absolute mountain at the back. Very underrated. Missed the first 10 games of the season with an injury. Just unbelievable player. Unbelievable.
Bremo. In Bremo. Oh, he says in Bremo. Macca says in Bremo. I do like Brentford. I'm sure they will continue to do well, even after some of their stars leave, just like Brian. Yeah, I think that's a fair. Manny's in the backstage. He'll be on shortly. Yeah, I think that's fair enough. Finishing not in Europe, was that a blessing in disguise, or did you want a little bit of a European road trip?
No, I was speaking to Phil about this the other day. I think we would have 100% coped with it fine, to be honest. Like I said, I think our depth in terms of players at the same level to the starting players is very good, and we can only bring players in the summer. And I think, like from what we've heard at the moment, obviously Tony probably won't go because of the ban, but Raya potentially going to go. But there's no noise about anyone else. And like I said, unless it's a top 6 club, I don't think anyone else is going to leave at the moment. So we can only go up.
Yeah. Anything you want to add about Brentford? Because we do have Marvin on later, so hopefully, fingers crossed. So he will talk about Brentford, and obviously he's a model now for Brentford. Just one quick thing. What about I can't ever say his name, but the guy from Coventry, is he a viable option to come in?
Oh, mate, I rate him very highly. I've watched him a few times and very good with his feet, likes to drive at players. Yeah, I rate him very highly. Some good goals.
Would he be a good guy to come in?
Yeah. Very him, or what's the old Arsenal player in League?
Balogun.
Yeah. I think some of his goals are a bit. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's obviously scored a lot of goals, but Balogun, some of them were a bit like you'd be a bit like, is he going to do that again, or is it a bit fluky?
Yeah.
I'm not taking away from anything. He's
No,
fantastic.
but that's
100%
the point. He's
would
still
have
young,
him.
and it is the French league. I'd get 15, 20 there. So
No, you wouldn't. Shut your mouth.
you
You can't get 15 to 20 in Sunday League.
I get about 4. I was pinging the balls. Well, before we bring on my next guest, me and you will go through our teams of the year. I'm going to go through mine very quickly, and then you can go through yours. So for me in goal, I've got David Raya. He's made the most saves this year. That's it. Simple as. Why shouldn't he be? Trippier, Saliba, Ben Mee. I'm not bumming Brentford, but Ben Mee was 33 years old. He was out for a year. For me, Ben Mee and Raya, one of the reasons why you lot weren't anywhere near relegation, because if Ben Mee wasn't there, you wouldn't have Janssen, and I don't think you would have coped with Zanka in the back two, personally. Now, I'm not saying Zanka's bad, but I think Ben Mee, 33 years old, free transfer, what a signing. Left back, I can't ever say his name, Espanyanya, the one from Brighton, the Brighton left back. That's it. He's had a really good year. He might, he could be the next Cucurella, but we'll see. He's had a good year. He was outstanding against Arsenal. Midfield, I've got one defensive midfield, Rodri. Then I've got 3 behind the front two, Saka, Odegaard, and Kevin De Bruyne, and then Haaland and Kane. Who else up front? Tony, very unlucky not to be in there, but I can't, I expect some people to put Tony in, but I can't leave out Kane and Haaland. But Tony's
it's Haaland and Kane, you can't argue with that.
Yeah, the fact Luca didn't put Kane in. He's got 30 fucking goals. 30 goals at Tottenham. The shit.
How Tottenham had the best summer signings ever and done worse than ever. Even myself was sucking them off before the season, and they just boom.
You got that one, didn't you? Go on then, Jay. What's yours, mate?
So I like my stats. So it is based a lot off the who scored. But don't get me wrong. Like when we're talking about the numbers that they have, they'll be by 0.01 better. So it is still up to preference as well. So. Yeah, I've gone Raya in goal as well. I know people will say, well, it's Brentford, so he faces a lot more shots. But a lot of them are from outside the box, which is part of the club's strategy as well, is make them shoot from outside the box because they rarely ever fucking go in, which is why we often have bangers scored against us because we just allow it to happen more often. Trippier, 100% right back. He's been unbelievable this year. Can't argue with that. Pinnock, like I said, my player of the year at Brentford and also my centre-back of the year in the Prem. And don't get me wrong, again, he has more opportunities to make tackles and do things for more than John Stones, for example, at Man City. So that doesn't mean I think he's a better player. I just mean individually, he has been the most consistent for me, centre-back in the Prem. Another Newcastle player, Fabian Schär, I agree with this one as well. I think he's been kind of unnoticed. He's been quality. Left back, Luke Shaw. Again, I think he's had an amazing season at Man United.
Got bummed by you, though.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. But one game don't make anything. Well, in the first game, not in the second one. So, and they were all a bit shit then, weren't they? So, it is what it is. And then we come into midfield. Obviously, Bukayo Saka. Oh my God, what a player! He is just unbelievable, especially for his age as well. He's definitely one of my favourite players. It's just an example, Chris, mate, all right? KDB, again, you can't argue with it. Casemiro for the impact that he had at Man United, and you kind of got to have a defensive midfielder in there, although he isn't in the Who Scored Team of the Year, so I have deviated a little bit from it. They got Jack Grealish on the left, but for me, it's Martinelli just for the goals and assists that he's done this year. So that's a middle four. And then obviously Kane and Haaland up top. Obviously Ivan on the bench, a close third for nudging them lot. But you can't not say Haaland and Kane. It's impossible. Strikers are based on goals and those two have got the most. So you literally can't say anyone else.
Okay. Well, I've got Macca's team of the year and I'm reading it. So just bear with me. I will be... The Macca's team of the year is Ramsdale, and then he's gone Trippier, Saliba, Stones, Schär, Shevchenko, and then he's gone Saka, Odegaard, Grealish, Kane, Haaland. Too many differences there. Not too many differences.
I think Grealish, he's obviously played enough games to qualify, like I think 26 starts, but it's not quite enough for me. I'd prefer a player that has started the majority of games. And I get that he's played in cup competitions, Europe and blah, blah, when he has been amazing. But yeah, just Grealish is just for me, I'd rather someone like Martinelli who's played more Prem games because we're doing a Prem team of the year, not fucking an all-round team of the year.
Makes sense. Paul Beresford, you come backstage. You'll be on at 35, but I'm going to bring on my next guest for the next 15 to 20 minutes. Arsenal fan, a big friend of the show. Welcome, Manny. How are you, mate?
Mr. Jones, good to see you. Good to see you. Congratulations on the 1K. And I'm really glad to be here today, or tonight rather, but I had to keep the rhyming scheme. Jay, good to see you. How are you?
Good, mate. How are you?
Can't complain. Can't complain.
You're about to get roasted, by the way, mate.
I'm ready. I'm ready. I mean, I just mentioned that I had to freshen myself up and have a shower for this. So, I mean, if it means, yeah. So it is what it is. I'll just go and have another shower after you roast me. But yeah, good to be on. It's been a long time since I've been back on the show. How are things with you, Graham?
Yeah, everything's all good, mate. Everything's all good here. Nothing to complain about. I haven't done many lives. Just been busy at work, but we've got this 1K now, so we just try and commit to a few more. But yeah, thank you for coming on. Before we get to Arsenal, just very quickly, you like to run through your team of the year?
Oh, I most definitely will. And I'll tell you what, I have a knack, Graham, of being able to sort of really think quickly about who I'd want in my team of the year based on, which teams or players certainly, and which teams have impressed me and which players have impressed me from those teams. So it's a bit difficult, though. It's not a very nice business. And I am going to sort of offer a spoiler in that there are no Spurs players in the team. So if anyone's expecting Harry Kane to be one of my strikers, I'm sorry, but you're going to be disappointed. I know, as Jay said, strikers are all about goals. But hey, you can have one scoring and the other one just doing some other work. And of course, ashes to ashes and dust to dust. If one doesn't score, the other one must. And I'd also like to sort of look at the impact they've had as opposed to statistics, if you know what I mean. So I've gone for a 4-4-2, yeah. And in goal, I am a little bit biased on this, and this is probably not an option which will please too many Arsenal fans. I will accept that, or maybe some other fans, I would say. But this is a guy in goal who I certainly believe is deservedly up there as one of the best goalkeepers in the world in terms of his all-round ability. And also, since coming back from the World Cup, his performances have been absolutely outstanding. And it is none other than, of course, the former Arsenal goalkeeper and FA Cup and Community Shield winner, Emiliano Martinez. Now, he didn't keep too many clean sheets compared to De Gea and Ramsdale. But when you take a look at some of the saves that he's made, they've been exceptionally pivotal in making sure Aston Villa got a lot more points since Emery joined, which took them from the threat of relegation to European qualification. And he's made it clear, obviously, that he wants to stay. But the sort of impact that he's had on a team, on that team like Villa, he's grown into, one of the leaders of the team, and he's simply become that terrific, old school, dominating goalkeeper who has actually improved a lot with his feet, thanks to Emery's tutelage. So he gets in the team, and I realize he didn't keep too many clean sheets. But again, you have these fine margins. You can concede a last-minute goal through no fault of your own and be denied your clean sheet. So I've gone for him for the impact that he's had. And, of course, the fact that he's a world champion does help, I would say. Right back, I've gone with Kyle Walker. I know he's a former Spud. I know that he can be a bit of a prat at times off the field, but on the field, he's proven since coming back that he is still England's best quality right back. And he will continue to be our number one right back ahead of the likes of TAA, Reece James and others until he loses form drastically and ends up, being taken out of the firing line. So he gets in.
I think he's still in Rico Henry's back pocket. I can't remember.
Mate,
sorry,
I realised that it was an end-of-season game. Guardiola didn't take his selection seriously. He put Calvin Phillips in at right midfield, crying out loud.
Put his best
carry on, Manny.
Yeah, but listen, Rico Henry didn't start in a Champions League semi-final, so there you are. And I know it's a Premier League.
Carry on, buddy, mate.
I'm sorry.
Buddy, mate.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. My centre backs, I have gone for Raphael Varane of Manchester United and William Saliba of Arsenal. Saliba's been wonderful this season, a wonderful ball-carrying centre half, almost in the mould of David O'Leary. And you could see that when he got injured, pardon me, you can see that when he got injured, our season started to completely unravel and go to pot. And it's a mark of just how, wonderful he has been this season, that he's literally been the glue that's held our defense together. Ben White, Zinchenko, And as for Varane, well, you can't really go wrong with a guy who's, won it all for Real Madrid and won it all with France. And he's also been probably United's best and most consistent defender. It's just a shame that injuries have not been his best friend. But whenever he's played, he certainly lent that calmness and authority to proceedings. I think the likes of Virgil van Dijk and Ibrahim Konate have been disappointing for Liverpool. Gabriel has blown hot and cold for me. And when you consider some of the defensive issues that Manchester City have had this season, I'm not really keen on, completely, considering their central defenders. I agree that John Stones has, grown leaps and bounds, but I'm not too sure I'd want him in the same backline as Kyle Walker at the expense of other defenders. And for left back, I've gone for a very, very left field pick, Alex Moreno of Aston Villa. Ever since he came in, being bought by Emery, he's lent a great deal of dynamism to that side. I know that you've plumped for Rico Henry. And if Kieran Tierney had something like a whole season, I'd have him in the team. But sadly, it hasn't been the case. And unlike Alexander Zinchenko, this guy can defend, but he's also been terrific going forward, an important component of Aston Villa's attacking play from the back, alongside Matty Cash. And, I mean, not exactly alongside per se, but certainly in the same back line. And that's sort of how it's worked for me. So a four-man midfield, I have gone for Gabriel Martinelli on the left wing and Kevin De Bruyne on the right wing. They pretty much select themselves, and I would actually go so far to say, to answer a potential question that Graham might have, that my player of the season would be Gabriel Martinelli. I think he's been a lot more consistent, at least marginally more than Saka. I don't think there's ever been a game where his performances have dropped necessarily. And if there have been issues where he struggled, it's because he hasn't been able to really get to grips with this inverted system that Arteta has sort of forced on the team, I would say, with Zinchenko cutting in and coming into the midfield. He would normally play his best football when he'd have an overlapping left back working with him, as Tierney did with Newcastle. Obviously, Tierney doesn't make the team, but Moreno is very much in the Tierney mold, I would say. And my hot take is that with Alex Moreno potentially missing pre-season and the start of the new season, it could very well be that Kieran Tierney goes to Aston Villa and gets reunited with Unai Emery. So that's my goalkeeper in my back line. Well, for a minute, I thought I was going to be alone talking to a couple of blank screens. So thanks for... Oh, man.
I'm back.
So did you hear my goalkeeper on my back line?
Yes, I've been listening.
Beautiful. Thank you very much indeed.
Carry on. Manny,
yes.
Manny, I know you're going through, but remember, we do have time slots, so as quick as you can. I want to talk about Arsenal.
All right, so, okay, I'm sorry about that. So, yeah, I've gone
you don't
for
need
De Bruyne.
to say sorry.
Yeah.
You don't need to say sorry.
Right, so De Bruyne on the right, Martinelli on the left. They picked themselves. And in central midfield, I have gone for Casemiro and Ilkay Gundogan.
Yep.
I mean, they also select themselves. Casemiro has done well. And for my strikers, Erling Haaland and Marcus Rashford.
No Kane, no?
Nope. No Spurs player. And it might sound harsh, but that's just an indication of the season they've had and how, when the going got tough, they got up and got out.
Fair enough. Thank you very much for that, Manny. Now we're going to go to Arsenal.
Oh, yes.
Listen, I don't know. We haven't spoken in a while, so I don't know your point of view. It is. But just overall, what is your reflection of the season? How would you rate the season out of 10?
I'm going to be a little bit frank here, and I will say it's a 6. And the reason why it's not as high as a 7 or an 8 is because, look, the early exits from the Cups, inexcusable, unforgivable. We're a team that's supposed to try and improve and at least give the impression that we're willing to challenge on as many fronts as possible, because the top teams do try to do that. And so for some of the performances that we put in, especially against Sporting Lisbon at the Emirates, when they had 2 of their players suspended, we should, in theory, have been able to overcome them in normal time, much less extra time or penalties. And we couldn't do any of those 3. And we have improved wonderfully. And I will say that, coming second is an improvement on 8th and 5th. But yeah, I saw that, Graham. I saw that. I know you probably won't be willing to, you won't agree with me. But listen, we can always agree to disagree. And yes, we have improved. We've come to 7th. But to be top of the table for close to 250 days and then lose at the very end, it brought back memories of some of those horrible collapses in 2003 and 2008. And it just hurt me personally that when the going got tough, especially in certain games when we needed to have some tactical flexibility, Arteta wasn't really willing to show any of that. Now, am I willing to completely say the system was horrible? The season was horrible? No. There are several players who have improved. I think Ben White has had a really good season for the most part, although he flattered to deceive come the end of the season. I do understand the inverted system with Zinchenko, but it left us completely weak at the back because Magalhaes had to do a lot more work. And of course, when you had a situation where Saliba was injured, and aside from Rob Holding and the unproven Kyrgios, we didn't really have that much in terms of adequate cover. It was always going to be a risk. And as the season went on, you could see that teams started to find us out. We ended up being a little bit, cocky, I would say. And when we got scored against, we didn't really know how to handle it. So this is going to be a bit of a learning curve for Arteta. And you and me both, mate, we want the team to continue to improve. We want the team to achieve something. And next season has to be the watershed. I hope if we win the Premiership, I would be more than happy to, eat my words on Arteta and say the process has worked. He has, done really well. And I'm willing to give him support. And I'm also willing to support a few other players. There are some players in that team whose attitudes I personally don't quite like, and who, in their own way, have also contributed to our collapse. But if they're a year older and a year wiser next season, they'll certainly be, performing better on the field, and I will look forward to that. So the ball is very much on their side of the field.
And just to finish on Arsenal, Manny, what's your? I think you've already mentioned him, but your player of the season and why?
Gabriel Martinelli. I think he's been at least marginally more consistent than Saka. I think whenever he's played really well, he's been, one of those on whom you could depend for a goal. And certainly, whenever he's played in the right system, he's looked at his best. It's been difficult for him trying to adapt to the inverted system, as I've said earlier. So for him to still have the season that he's had has been terrific. And I consider him my player of the season. If Saka hadn't have dropped off, at the worst possible time and started to show a bit of lethargy, I'd have him as my player of the season, hands down. But the poor fellow's being played by Arteta. He's being overplayed by Southgate. The boy needs a rest, for crying out loud. And during the summer, he'll have some internationals for England. Just rest him in the Nations League, for heaven's sake.
Jay, just on Arsenal, mate. 6 is a bit harsh on Arsenal.
No, it's the first person who's spoken who I agree with, to be honest. I think you can't draw with Southampton, who've got fucking relegated very well, and say, oh, well, at least we finished second. You've been the architects of your own downfall. And I think that that adaptability piece and having strength in depth has kind of hurt you. I think Rob Holding is absolutely awful. And I think he not single-handedly, but it shows when you don't have those players who are that 8 out of 10 every week that you can get got at. And one centre-back can't do everything when the other one's a pile of poo. So, you like you said, early exit from competitions, you've just had to focus on the Prem. Next year could be very hard because your expectations could be, we're going to win the Prem. Now you've got to deal with Champions League, to actually perform in cup games rather than just take on the Prem. I think you've got to do more in those wider systems. When we're looking at Man City potentially winning a treble, and you guys really only had the Prem to look at, I think you fucked it yourself, to be honest. So yeah, very, very honest review. And people saying, "Oh, we take second at the beginning of the season." Well, you would, but if you like I said, if you draw games like Southampton, then I don't think, in reality, if you look yourself in the mirror, you'd really, really be happy with that.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I'd say 7 personally, but yes, I think 6 a bit harsh. But I get what you. I get what you're
Yeah.
coming from.
Not necessarily saying it was a 6. I'd say like a 7, 8 still 2. No, don't get me wrong.
All right, you know what? I mean, for the sake of harmony, I'll bump it up to 7 because I do not want to have any friction between you, Mr. Jones. You know I have nothing but love for you, yeah, and your family too.
Sir. Thank you. And Manny,
Always.
anything else you want to finish up on Arsenal?
Nothing else, mate. I mean, as long as we show some seriousness in making sure that we get the right players who will add the depth to the squad that we need and show that we are committed to building on this, then I can look forward to a good season. I know I'm on a lot of streams where our fellow Arsenal fans can be a little bit pessimistic, and they say that with the other teams coming back, we're not going to repeat the success. There is a part of me that thinks that, but there is a part of me also that is hopeful that we will, take this seriously. And Kroenke now really needs to pull his finger out of his mouth and say, you know what, 200 million is not going to be enough. I need to really start giving injecting more money because, I mean, we probably might not get Declan Rice. He might be going off to Germany. Caicedo could be an opportunity. So we might have to get one or the other. We can't have both. Otherwise, our current transfer budget will be wiped out, yeah?
Great. Spoken as a gentleman, as always, Manny. I really appreciate you coming on today. As you know, we're doing slots, and I really appreciate you coming on and supporting the channel. And as always, reviews are very specific, very professional, and it's just a joy to hear you speak, the most poshest man on the channel.
Appreciate
anything else
that,
you
mate.
want to
Thank
add
you.
before you depart, sir?
Nothing else, mate. I just want to say good luck to you all and congratulations on the 1K, the first K of many, and hopefully. And if there are any more opportunities for me to come back on, if you'd like me back on, just
Manny, as always,
you say
always welcome.
Just give me a call and I'll come running. Yeah.
Always. Thank you so much, Manny. Listen,
Beautiful,
next year we'll get better. Stay with the Arsenal. We'll be there next year.
Absolutely.
Right? Thank you, Manny.
Always,
Really
no
appreciate
matter what.
it.
Cheers, mate. Cheers, Jay. See you soon, mate.
All right, so I'm actually supposed to have 2 guests, but someone who pulled out is now back on. So we're actually going to have 3 people on now, and they're going to stay on the show to 9 o'clock. So we're going to be 5 minutes behind schedule, Phil. So you'll be on at 9, not 5:02. So first up, Paul Beresford's been waiting patiently. Come on early. Paul Beresford. Welcome,
hello.
Paul.
All right, Jay. You all right, Jay?
Hey.
How you doing, fella?
Paul, let me talk. Next up, said he wasn't coming on, but now he's coming on. It's Shahan.
Hello, everyone. Hello. Apologies.
But you're on now, and we can get you in. And then finally, the model of Brentford, Marvin.
Do that. Don't do
that.
No.
Laura. Hold on.
No.
Explain what that is, so people might know what that is. In what though? What is it?
In the Brentford programme, and he's on the website as well. He's also signed it. He will sign it for you. Thank you, Marvin.
Thanks, mate. Bye. Anyway, let's get back to football. How is everyone?
Good, thanks, Jay.
Let's go, fucking Captain Bears. All right, Paul. So we're going to start off with a Fulham season review. We'll start with you, Bez. So, listen, start the season, I think we all ripped Fulham off. I thought they would go straight back down. Just your overall view of the season. How happy are you to finish in the top 10?
Yeah, I think, I wasn't one of those who said we'd go down. I always thought we'd stay up. Got the right manager in. Last time we was up there under fucking Parker, he was shit when he was that system. I didn't think we'd finish as high as 10th, to be honest. But I didn't think we'd be in danger of going down. I thought Forest and Bournemouth would have been more danger, and they stayed up fair. But overall, mate, I've got to say, I'm very impressed with what Silver's done there. And at one stage we were up to like 6, I think. But I mean, we were never going to stay in that position. But top 10 all day long. I think Silver's done a great job there. Obviously got the best out of Ream at the back, who wasn't everyone's cup of tea. But yeah, just very happy overall. I think 10th place all day long. Take that. Very happy, and we'll go on to next season.
And regarding what's your greatest performance? What game, team performance that sticks in your memory?
I don't know really. It's been, even like just a couple of losses, like we lost 2-1 at City, shouldn't have done them. That was ever fucking penalty at the end that De Bruyne had got. And played well there. Played well in the season. I think played well against you guys. Although we got done 2-1. Brighton, I know it wasn't a great performance, but like result wise, done double over Brighton, believe it or not. So there's been some good performances. I don't know about stand out, but we've done what we've had to do at times, and that's about it really. I can't think of anything on top of my head where it's gone. Oh yeah, that one.
What about player of the season?
Tough one for me because I don't go as much as someone like Mark Hill. So obviously people he sees him more than me. But from what I've seen, I put Paulinho in there. I think he died off a bit towards the end, to be fair. But 14 yellows, I think it was. But he's had a good season. Ream, good season. Obviously Leno in goal. I think he's been absolutely fantastic. Mitrovic would have done if he hadn't had that ban, but probably for me, maybe sort of Paulinho or even like Pereira next to him. I think they've both been really good this season. Why
has it worked? Why has this year been different for Fulham, Des?
I think we've got the right manager in, playing the right system. I know he's had a few clubs, Silva, and he's been sacked from a few clubs, probably unluckily. I think to Everton or 8th and they sacked him. But I just think we're the right man in, right system, right style. He believes in the players. Like I say, he's got the best out of Ream, who, to be fair, ain't really a Premier League defender, but for some reason, he's because of Silva, he's had an outstanding season. I just think it's all down to Silva and his coaching staff. How he's got.
It's like you're a darts, Bez, isn't it?
Yes, pretty much. Yeah, I would say championship at best. But no, I just think he's got the best out of him. Do you know what I mean? Like him and his coaching staff got a way to play, and that's how we're playing. Don't be scared to if you make a mistake, don't matter. Go again. So and that's absolute credit to them. Hopefully we can build on that and go again next season.
And William, he's had a good year.
Been absolutely fantastic. So again, no one really wanted to touch him. Silva's done something with him, got the best out of him. So to me, that's good man management.
Jay, just quickly on Fulham. I know obviously Brentford's rivals, but anything nice to say about them?
I heard they've done a bulk order of Zimmer frames for Fulham's team next year. They've won a lot of games, one more game, or same amount as us. So obviously
we lost to
them. It's the beginning of the season. So great season for them. I think it's a great season for all the teams that came up. To be honest, I think they've all done themselves proud, which is always refreshing when we get three brand new teams into the league and we don't lose all three of the ones that came up.
Yeah, it's difficult. Yeah, no, all done well.
For me, Mitro, even with the ban, has been their player of the year. Banged goals in like there was no tomorrow. When he came back, carried on doing it.
14 goals, missed 8 games of the ban, missed 4 penalties. Klukwati's had 20 this season. He was out a couple of games because he's had 20. Which
without being in the bed, he would have called
obviously shut up all the doubters. So
fuck off! I don't want to hear it. Go away. Thank you, Bez. Stay on the show. We're going to get your team of the year before you shoot off. So stay with us.
Thank you very much.
We're now going to go to. They're back. They're back.
They're not now, are they? They're not.
They are back.
They're not back. Back where?
We're back. No, I'm joking. Not yet.
Still got improvements.
We're 25% off.
They're back.
Down the middle, messaged me saying he weren't coming on.
No, apologies for that. Thanks for letting me sneak back in. Apologies for that, but thanks for letting me.
It's all right.
Sneak my way back into the top.
Sneak your way back in. Listen, Shahan, we all joke about Man United, but even I can admit it's been an improvement. What has Ten Hag done to get this team playing and getting the results again?
I think his mentality is brought into the team. He's not as an easygoing guy as like say Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He knows what he wants. He knows what players he wants. I think a lot of people are laughing because obviously he's just come into the Premier League. But, he's still got himself to prove. But, I mean, in terms of management, you can see There's a lot of players that respect him. He got rid of, a few dead weights and that. He's not starting the dead weights, Harry Maguire. But yeah, we're going to get there slowly and surely, but still a long way to go, in my view.
Is it? Old Trafford's been a bit of a fortress this year, but the away form still needs a bit of work. Was that something that worried you? If you would have sorted your away form out, would you have been a bit better? Maybe
Yeah, 100%. Because away games, they're just important. We need to get 3 points on the road at the end of the day, and I think it's crucial. We need to bring that home form away, but again, that's gonna take time. There's a lot of teams in the Premier League when they're at home, they're another level. So it's gonna take time, and we just need to get the right players in still, I think, in my view.
There's a question here from Stuart Shultile. Would you rather Man United win the FA Cup or Man City lose the Champions League final?
I'll take the trophy. I'll take the trophy because that ends
The treble.
Yeah, that ends the treble, and we've got a title, so I can't complain. So I'll take the FA Cup all day. And
Daniel Colburn, a Man United fan. Well said. We're on our way back.
Yeah, we're in the right direction.
Man United fans. They're not back. You're not back. You're better. But you're not
we're in the right direction. We're in the right.
Okay,
let's say we're in the right direction.
You beat Burnley, Forest, Bournemouth, and Charlton at home, and then you were back.
We're in the right direction. Don't worry.
You can only beat who's in front of you. You can only beat who's in front of you.
Wait, can everyone see what I've named? Can everyone see what I've named myself? By the way.
Well, all their ties at home as well.
Okay.
They were own ties.
If I move the thingy, it'll show your name.
Okay, yeah. So everyone can see that,
yeah? Now we can. So obviously, player of the season, you've had a few players that have had really good years. Bruno Fernandes has had a good year. Casemiro, Martinez. I don't rate Martinez, but I know people say he's had a good year. And Rashford. But for you, Shahan, who's been your player of the season for Man United?
To be honest, it's a hard one because, like you mentioned, I think there's a few players there that have improved. But in terms of it's a hard one. I'm torn between a few players, but it's a hard.
Say one.
I've got a few, but if I had to go for one in terms of improvement from what they were to now, I'd say
Maguire.
Wan-Bissaka, mate.
To be fair,
I don't know what he's taken or what he's done, but in terms of what he was once upon a time to what he is now, and how he's playing, and if he keeps it up, he'll be up there, like going strong. Like when it comes to one-on-one defending, he's winning against anyone. Like he's got the ball anytime. So I think in terms of improvement, I think Wan-Bissaka hasn't been spoken about a lot compared to what he was before. He's improved so much.
Your fans are bringing them up. Don't worry about that.
But there is many other players. Look, Casemiro, he's shown why he's one of the top midfielders in the world. You got Luke Shaw, who's playing centre left back, phenomenal. There's a few, but in terms of improvements, I'm saying I would go for Wan-Bissaka.
That's not me. That's Phil, by the way. Just one more question. I'm going to go to Jay. Shahan, would you kick De Gea?
I'd say I'd keep him for now, but his time's slowly coming up. We need someone that we need to start thinking about long term. He's still De Gea he's been a legend of the club, but he's making mistakes where could cost us in massive games, like down the line. So it's not worth taking the risk. So I'd say I'd keep him, but as a backup. But I don't see him staying as a backup. That's the thing. Like he'd leave. So we need someone that's solid, like get in there, not scared, and dominates the box.
What's your performance of the season?
As in game.
Yeah, what game? It doesn't have to be a home game. It can't be away.
No, I'd say the home. I'd say our home win where we beat City 2-1. I think we were solid. It was a City team, a strong City team. Everyone thought, they're gonna smack, because obviously the previous game they destroyed us, 6-3. But let's not talk about that. It was 6-1.
7-0, 7-up.
But yeah, I'd say getting a win against City is I'll take that, and I think it was a solid performance. We need to repeat that this Saturday.
All right, cheers, Shahan. Stay with us. We'll give you your team of the year before you come off like Bez. Jay, closet Man United fan. What's your views on Man United this year before I go to Marvin?
Shahan don't know what home or away is. That chair he's sitting in is home or away, isn't it? Armchair fans, it. No, I'm joking. No, for real. Like I like Man United. Have been good this year, and yeah, I always will like Man United. I'm not going to lie to you. Got nothing against them, but obviously Casemiro's amazing. But he's 30 years old, and you spent how much money on him? So I don't like when they brag like he's been amazing. Well done. Like you paid 60 million for a 30-year-old that no one else wanted. He was obviously going to be good. He's a fucking amazing player, but don't act like you found a diamond in the rough. But nah, for real, Eric Ten Hag, what a manager. Like you said, Wan-Bissaka's improved. I think the whole team, the younger players especially, have improved. Rashford, amazing second half of the season. Kind of wasn't there at the beginning, but yeah, that can only be down to management, players improving like that. And obviously we know Rashford had it in him anyway. So yeah, I think Man United have a good season, and you can slag everyone off they want, but they've won a cup, and I know that is the theatre of dreams. You know what I mean? Man United have been big for a long time, so to them it don't seem a lot, and from a little shitty club like me, it does seem a lot. But yeah, no, I think you can't underestimate what he has done there with a group of players who some of them, like you said, I don't really rate that Lisandro Martinez. Malacia, I think he's a bit shit as well. Yeah, there's some not great players in that team, and he has got the best out of them, especially when Varane is injured quite a lot. Casemiro had a little ban for fouling people too many times. So yeah, they've had a good season. I'm not going to slag them off like everyone else.
Thank you, Marvin. Who am I asking? Am I Brentford or Man United?
What? Man United?
Arsenal.
Brentford or Arsenal? Sorry.
Arsenal.
Whichever.
I'll do a couple of questions on both. I'll start with Brentford.
Graham's trying to use the joke everyone uses on him.
Fuck off.
Don't defend
Macca is put in a group chat that I'm talking about bumming up Brentford. He's a dickhead. He's watching this as well. Marvin, regarding Brentford, obviously I've spoken to Jay already. Second season syndrome was brought up. Brentford would struggle. How satisfying it is to have a season like this year for Brentford?
Of course, it's great. Finishing 8th, just outside European place, Conference League, which we didn't get because results didn't go our way. But yeah, with the squad that Brentford have, the budget that they have, to be at the place where they are, it is quite a big thing. And I feel a lot of the players that are at Brentford, they are very underlooked and underrated. Like I could name them now, but I'll leave that for later on. Players such as Ethan Pinnock, Ben Mee, Rico Henry. How he's not got in the England squad yet, like that's beyond me. But yeah, it's a great season for Brentford, and I think the only way is up for Brentford. They will improve next season. Hopefully, Europa League. And I'll be going on a European tour. Who knows? Is he still there? Is he gone?
Yeah, I'm here.
He's having a shit.
No. I'm washing my hands. Marvin, you're probably not aware of this, but this is the first time you and Shahan have been on the same live since he slagged off Brentford. Anything you want to say to Shahan about Brentford?
When did I slag off Brentford?
Yes, you did.
You always do it.
You're the one that said Brighton's going to get relegated. Don't forget about that.
I've apologised.
Mate, you're...
all jokes aside, Marvin, player of the season for Brentford?
There's actually quite a lot to pick. Like Ivan Toney's up there. Ethan Pinnock is up there. Rico Henry's been consistent, but it has to be Ben Mee. It has to be Ben Mee. The difference that he's made in that defense to get him on a free, it's just He's just an amazing player.
Fair enough. And regarding Arsenal, we're not going to go to Arsenal. What's your views on the season? Did they bottle it, or was it a good year?
Yeah, they bottled it. They bottled it. I'll say it as it is. They bottled it. It's been a good season, a great season. From what finishing was 5th last year to then be in pole position to win the league, and then somehow, the last 6 games just bottled it. What, they were 12 points ahead at one point, if I'm correct. I don't know.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, like you can't lose the league from that position. 12 points ahead. You should be winning the league. Anyone ask me, Arsenal bottled the league this year. They bottled it. But it's been a good season. The squad is quite young. If the group stick together, a couple additions, they could be challenging again next year.
And player of the season for Arsenal?
For me, it was tough between Odegaard and Saka, but I will go with Saka. Even though he's dropped off towards the end of the season, he was quite consistent. Even after the World Cup, he was scoring goals, making things happen. Yeah, it's Saka for me.
And as an Arsenal Brentford fan, I'm asking you for both because I know you've got affiliations with both. Who would be more happier with their season, Arsenal or Brentford? And that's not a dig. That's just a question. I know you work for Brentford.
Yeah. I want to say Brentford, because me as an Arsenal fan, yeah, I'm happy finishing second, but I would have been a lot happier if we were second all the way through. But the position that Arsenal were in to then finish second, yeah, we bottled it. But I'll say Brentford, because going into the last game, we did have that hope that, yeah, you know what, we can be in Europe next year. If we beat City, I expected Tottenham to lose. Brighton, Aston Villa, that could have went anyway. But I would say Brentford, because a lot of pundits, commentators, they had Brentford going down, second season syndrome, and here we are, like the best team in West London.
Best thing. All right, lads. So we're going to now, before you all depart, we've already got Jay. Jay doesn't need to talk more about Brentford or Arsenal. We've already heard his review. So, team of the year, very quickly, guys. I'll start with you, Paul. Your team of the year.
Goalkeeper, I think Nick Pope. I think he's done well at Newcastle.
Remember, you've got 90 seconds.
Trippier, Saliba, Ben Mee, I'll have in there. Hurts me to say it, but he's in there. And I think left back, Luke Shaw, or if not, the Brighton fella. And then hospital, I've got Odegaard, De Bruyne, Gundogan, Martinelli. And up front, excuse me, Haaland and Kane.
Writes itself. I still can't believe 2 people already have Kane in there.
It's
fucking nuts. 30 fucking goals, mate.
It's not the team you prefer.
Harry Kane. Talking of Harry Kane, what's your team of the year?
I'd say Ramsdale on goal, been solid. He's made crucial saves for Arsenal. Right back, I'd go for Trippier. Going forward, I think he's phenomenal. Centre backs, for me, Saliba and Martinez before the injury. Left back, Luke Shaw. In the midfield, I'm going for De Bruyne and Bruno. On the right, Saka. On the left, Rashford and Haaland and Kane up top.
I love the fact Odegaard got in that
That's like team of the decade.
That's the Man United team of the year.
That's team of the decade, mate. Not team of the season.
And Marvin, team of the year. Fuck you. It's got too many Man United players in there for me. Marvin, team of the year, buddy.
For me, in goal, David Raya. Trippier right back. Saliba, Ben Mee. Left back, I went for Luke Shaw. No, I went for Luke Shaw. It was between Luke Shaw, Rico Henry, or Estupiñán. I went for Luke Shaw. In the midfield, I've got Saka, De Bruyne, and who?
Odegaard.
Casino.
Nah, McAllister.
Yeah, I knew it was going to be a Brighton player. I fucking knew it.
McAllister.
And up top, Kane, Haaland, and Ivan Toney.
So wait, you saying McAllister had a better season than Bruno?
Bruno had a better season than Odegaard.
Wait, it's
Mate,
the impact that McAllister has had at Brighton. Like, who expected Brighton to finish?
no, but what I'm saying, there's a few midfielders that's done better than I think McAllister in the Prem.
Yeah, a few. He's been good, but
Good, but there's been a
He's
few.
good, but there's been
is he that good? I don't know. Running off the back of the World Cup. Been shit since the World Cup.
Nacho man's not having it. Lads, it's been an hour, Jay. Thank you so much. And guys, thank you for coming on. I know it's not the long show as normal, but we've got more people coming on. And yes, before I bring you lot off, he is actually on a late show. Fucking hell.
Fucking hell, Phil.
Word.
Not in his car.
He's not in his car. He's not doing a bit of dogging.
I don't work night shifts anymore, do I? So I'm not in the car at this time of night. That's it.
No, I just want to say goodbye to Shahan. Thank you very much.
No, thanks for having me. Apologies again for not getting my slot, but yeah, thanks for letting me sneak in. And congrats on the 1K.
Bez, thank you so much. But one thing, never say you're not a favourite backer ever again.
Cheers, G, and well done for the 1,000 followers, mate. I hope it goes on and on for you. I look forward to being on some more.
Marvin, thank you for coming on. Appreciate it. I know it was 50-50.
Yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, and yeah, congrats on the 1,000 subs. Keep the channel growing. You know, I'll be back on another live again.
DJ Marvin, who said Baptiste was better than Jensen. And finally, Jay, macho man, young man. Thank you.
What's that?
Thank you. Anything you want to add?
Nah, mate. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much, Sport. Take care, and we'll see you all soon.
Thank
Continue
you.
to watch if you can, and
Yeah.
mug off Phil.
All right.
So backstage, we got Carl. You will be on in about 10 minutes. Ollie, it's early. Ollie, you will be on in a bit later on, mate. But right now, Phil, how are you?
You all right? Yeah, not bad.
You know what? I forgot to do a Palace thing.
Oh.
How have you enjoyed the show so far?
Yeah, it's been a while. I didn't hear the whole thing because I put little one to bed, so I had it on mute. But seemed a good crack. I didn't hear everyone's team of the year, so interesting.
Some have been good. Some have been a little bit shaky. Palace. Let's go to, before we go to your team of the year and before we bring on Carl and hopefully Ren, hopefully he does come on. Palace, just your thoughts on the season, really, Phil. What would you give out of 10?
I'd probably just say 7, to be honest with you, because I thought we'd come about 12th, 13th anyway before ball was kicked. Started all right, ended really good, just terrible from Christmas till when Pat got sacked, really. So good start, shit middle, good finish. Would have took it if it was just steady the whole way through the season. I think with Pat, we don't know what would have happened. I think he would have stayed up, just looking at the points. But Roy's got a load of points, so it's justified the decision in a way, even though I wasn't in favour of it at the time. I think they should have given him at least Leeds and Leicester. So if he lost those 2 games, you say, right, it's a lost cause, get rid of him. There's still enough time to save him. But I would have just said, yeah, Roy's done all right. But then where do we go now? We've got Roy in charge. How much longer is he going to stay manager for? I know they're talking about doing 1 more year, but then what's the plan after that? At least with Pat, if we'd stayed up, it would have been something long term, because there was talk of him replacing Arteta at one point, wasn't there? When it was going really well in the first year and Arteta was struggling. So how quick your life changes as a football manager.
Yeah, I've got a couple of questions before I carry on myself. First from Maka, what are your views on Super Roy, basically?
Yeah, again, I wasn't overly pleased we had to resort to that. I'm pretty sure he wasn't planning to come back out of retirement, but since he's come back in, he's done everything he was asked to do, hasn't he? So you can't really knock anything he's done since he come back. And he came back a bit refreshed, played a bit of football. I think we had like the most shots in a Premier League game this year. In there was one of the games we played. It was a ridiculous amount of shots. At Leicester, we had about 24 shots in the first half.
Yeah.
So can't knock him that he actually came back and like played a bit of ball. So but the young guys like Eze and Elise, they flourished from that. Maybe you could say when he was manager, we didn't have all these players. We just had Wilf and a load of like Scott Dan, Millie Jedinax. What can he do with those players? So he had to maybe play those tactics. But now he's got like a decent squad. He seems to have adapted his style. Like I said, Roy Guardiola, isn't it?
And then Jay, what does the picture look like for a young team set up that seems like you need a manager, basically?
Yeah, and again, I'm not gonna. If they say Roy's going to take it for another year, I wouldn't be against that. If that year was used to find something, like Chelsea already got their manager in, why Frank was still there. They didn't say, "Oh, we're just going to wait. We're just going to let Frank do the job until someone gets sacked." They went out and chose Pochettino, didn't they? I think Nagelman was in hunt as well. If there's a manager out there without a job, say in February, and they say, right, this is going to be our man, but Roy's still there till the end of the season, let's get the deal signed, I'd be for that. But I don't want it to be like, say it was going to be this year and we just say, right, you're getting Brendan Rodgers because he got sacked. I think that's the wrong way to go about it. You need to actually replace it and have a smooth takeover, pass the reins over, rather than just wait to fuck up and then get someone else in panic.
What do you think about Potter, Phil?
I think it would probably be like the level that he's at. I think Chelsea was a bit too much for him. I think Brighton was very comfortable for him, but I don't think it would go well because of obviously the rivalry. I think a lot of people would be against that, so I don't think the board would actually make that appointment.
Okay, just going back to some of the questions I had sorted again. Player of the season, who would you give it to?
It's a close one. I'll probably, just because of the way he finished the season and a lot of his goals did help keep us, I'll probably give it to Eze. But I think like the story of the season would just be Eze and Elise actually coming through and showing that it's not all about Zaha, because like probably the last like 9 seasons, everything's just involved him.
Yeah,
he's had a lot of
been
games
one-man
injured.
team.
Yeah, he's a lot of games injured, a lot of games where he hasn't contributed as well, a few games where he's like throwing his toys at the Prem. These lads, you don't see any bad headlines from them. Like you don't read anything bad about Eze and Elise in the paper, do you? You don't hear them making comments. You don't hear them doing stupid things on social media. They just seem like good lads, heads down, come to play football. So I think just their emergence has been like really good. And I'll give it to Eze more because he got in the England team. Just announced, and he was going to be in the England team 2 years ago when he really seriously injured himself. He was going to be in the provisional squad. Got injured on the last training session of the season, out for like 10 months. So I think that's probably the story of the season for him.
Okay, Phil, just before I bring on the next 2 guests, very quickly, the team of the season.
Well, I have changed it because I think I was being a bit out of order to one player, but I'll just rattle through it quite quickly. Probably quite a lot of people have gone for these as well. So, gone Raya in goal. I think just the amount of shots he's saved and his clean sheets, goals against, isn't that far off any of the other big boys. He's faced a hell of a lot more shots and single-handedly saved points for Brentford in some games. Trippier, probably everyone's choice. Fantastic year back in the Prem. Put him in right back. Put Luke Shaw left back. Again, I think from where he was at one point in his career, sort of like a bit of a nobody, and disappeared. Now, the games he's played at centre back as well made it all for me to put him in there because he's covered at centre back, and you wouldn't know he wasn't at centre back. In the middle, as much as I don't want to go on the bandwagon, Saliba, he didn't play all the games, but it was because of injury, and you could see the difference when he wasn't playing. Probably one of the reasons you lost the league. And I've gone for Ben Mee in there. I just think as well, like a few of the guys were bumming him up earlier. I think he's been great this year, both ends, like contributing, and a bit gutted with the price that I think that we should have gone in for him, but Again, can't fault anything he's done there. Across the middle, I've tried to be a bit more creative. I think like Kevin De Bruyne, Rodri would walk into any team, but they haven't played all the games and they play in the best team in the world, so it is easy to play in that position. So holding midfield, I've actually gone for Polina. I think a lot of people have been impressed with how Fulham have done this year and surprised. And you look at Mitrovic's goals, but I think him in the midfield, they're a team that used to get run over. He's put in 50% more tackles than the second person in the league. So I think just for that stat alone, he has to be in this team. Got a defensive midfielder that makes tackles, and I paired him up with Odegaard. Don't think he's better than KDB, but I think this season he has been more pivotal to his team, and his numbers are more orientated on goals. He's like doubled what he did last year, where De Bruyne's sort of just been De Bruyne. Left wing, I've put Marcus Rashford. Again, he's had dips over the season, but he's had injuries as well. I think just from where he was last year, he's turned it around amazingly. Part of that's because of Erik ten Hag. On the right, I was going to put Salah, but I've put Saka in. I think it'd be out of order to keep him out of the team. But he didn't finish the season that well. But over a season, he has deserved it, and he's at a different point in his career. Mo Salah should be getting those numbers, where Saka's sort of slowly getting better. And I've gone 4-4-2 just because I have to have Kane and Haaland up front. I can't not have those two in there. So I think Kane would have got another golden boot if Haaland hadn't come this year. But it is what it is.
Thank you, Phil. Now let's get ready for the first two guests on for the next 20 minutes. First, please welcome, he's been waiting patiently. Please welcome from KDB Sports, obviously fellow Arsenal fan, Carl. How are you, Carl?
Yeah, good evening, gentlemen. Hope you're all good. Hope you are all good. I just got back from a festival yesterday, sunburnt to fuck, shall we say? But yeah, all good nonetheless.
And Liverpool fan, it's been a long time since we've seen him. Welcome back on the show. I know it says Mason, but his name's Ren. Ren, hello, mate. How are you? You're muted.
No, so thanks for having me back. Yeah, thanks. It's good to be back. And it was good to hear some of Phil's picks. I'm not going to lie. There's one in there that I wanted to put in, but can't wait to get to that point.
So you're on to the next 20 minutes, lads. So I'll start with Carl, then I'll go to Ren. Phil will have his input on both of what you say. And then just before we finish, very quickly, both run through your teams of the year. Carl, I'm going to go to you first. Obviously, Phil's waiting. But I'm going to... You've heard Manny, you've heard me. What is your rating for the season this year, Carl? What would you rate the season overall, not just the Prem, the whole season for Arsenal? Would you really be disappointed? And why?
6
why
out of
6?
10. Why 6? Put it this. Okay, so with 9 games to go, you're 8 points clear. You should by now have made some sort of trajectory where you should be finishing. And I stated on my channel on March the 4th, you go back on my channel and check it, that I said we would go and win the league. And I want us to go and win the league because we actually had the drive, we had the ambition, and we were still sitting at the top. When you've been at the top for 93% of the season, there should be no excuses that you should go on and finish off the job. And that's exactly what we didn't do. We didn't finish off the job. The game which screwed it up for us to start this capitulation was away to Liverpool. What don't you do when you're at Anfield? You don't ride up the crowd. That's the worst thing to do. I mean, look, I'm an NFL fan. I'm a Patriots fan, you know. There's a team called the Seattle Seahawks. They're called the 12th man for a reason. Don't get that crowd up. You getting the players up, everything. So you screwed that up. Away to West Ham. Shit game. Absolute shit game. 2-0 up. Should have finished them off. Did not. Southampton game, complete capitulation. The City game is the City game at the end of the day, right? Excluding Brentford, there's no other team that could probably beat them. And then it just snowballed effective way through. And I got put on, I was on a video call, can't remember who it was with, I think it was on Fran's channel. And basically two top gooners came at me saying I was quite negative and saying I was nothing more than a 2010 fan when I turned around and stated that Manchester City were clicking into gear at exactly the right time.
But I said this to you all along, though, Ren, didn't I?
You said this, off the bat. You said this off the bat, and I kind of didn't want to think that. But now, as the season has dwindled its way out, shall we say, that's how it's come. That's how it's come about. And it's not the matter of the way how we just lost the title, lost the league. It's the fact in the mannerism that we done it. The mentality issue. People turn around and say the culture of the club has changed. Well, there's only one. Well, there's a fair bit of the culture that has changed, but the one part of the culture that has not changed is the mentality of this squad. It's still there. It's like you building a house. You've built the house. You've decorated the house. Everything's all good. You got your furniture in. It's brilliant, but you forgot to check the rotten boarding foundations underneath. There is still a problem. We bottled the league, and people want to turn around and say bottling the league is a harsh word to say about it. Well, what else could you do? We've done it 5 times in the Premier League era. Don't believe me? Go look at Wikipedia pages. We've done it 5 times. Man United have done it at least twice. Chelsea have done it once. Liverpool done it once. So this isn't old news. It isn't old news. It was just the way how it ended, okay? Arteta is so arrogant in his own ways. He only knows how to play one way. He only knows one formation. He only knows one system. And if it doesn't work, we're fucked. Do you know who also played that same sort of system? Wenger did. Have we just got the modern day Arsene Wenger? And people say we should be happy we're back in the Champions League. We were in the Champions League for 20 straight years under Wenger. Where did we go? Made a final in 2006 and lost in 2009 in a semi-final to Man United.
Carl, I get what you're saying, Carl, but I think we do need to take positives from this. I do think positives need to be taken. Now, is there any positives that you can take from this season?
The style of football that we were playing was absolutely brilliant to watch. There were some ways in which the inverted role did work, and it worked down to a T. But it's very hard to pinpoint it out because there's just so much that went wrong at the end of the season. And you can't, and I'm not going to say the transfer windows was a great point of the season because what did we do? We got Jesus in, who is not an out-and-out goal scorer. We got Zinchenko in, who is an inverted left back and leaves us exposed at the backside on the right-hand side. And then in January, we got Trossard, which is pretty, for me, our best signing that we've done throughout the entirety of the season. We added Jorginho in there for experience, but again, another Chelsea reject. We've seen how this has panned out before. And then we got some Polish defender by the name of Kivior, who I'd never even heard of in my life. But apparently, he is the next Paolo Maldini or something. I mean, give me a break. So, and the argument I give to you is this: have we had a shit window, or is it a lack of depth? Because you can't have both. You can't have both.
I'm here to host the show, but I do think you're being a bit harsh, personally, Carl. I do think you're overreacting a bit. I'm not saying I'm happy what happened. I'm mad as you. But I've got to take the positives. I'm happy with second. Though I'm not happy with not winning the league. But it's not like we finished 5th or 6th. Liverpool finished, and I'm not mugging Liverpool off here, but Liverpool should be madder than us. And I think Ren's going to be a bit more understand. I get it. What you're saying is right, and I understand there are things that you're spot on. Shevchenko is not that good. Defensively, he's poor, and he was a lot of the reasons why we conceded. And I keep telling people this. He's decent. But Man City's problem for years was a left back. And who was their left back? Shevchenko. So we moved. Shevchenko was their Man City's problem for years was no left back. Yeah? Shevchenko is their left back. That's the reason. He's decent, but Tierney's by far a better left back. And if Tierney played, I think we would have done better in them games, personally. Carl, we'll keep it positive, Carl. Player of the year.
For me, it's Saka. For the last 3 seasons, he's been carrying this team on his back, and he's still done the same again. A lot of people saying Odegaard, and I understand why they say Odegaard, but too many games in critical situations, he goes disappearing. He does an Ozil. So in some games, he does an Ozil.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. I think that's a fair comment. Carl, I will come back to you shortly. Phil, just on Arsenal, what's your view on Arsenal? Again, we haven't got all night, but what's your overgone view? Do you think Carl's been a bit too harsh here?
I get where he's coming from. I think you take two sides. Take two sides of it. Once the season's out of the way, three or 4 weeks later, you look back on it, you think actually it weren't actually as bad. We did progress. Bottled the league instead of bottling top 4. It's a progression of sorts. You look at these kids; they're improving, but they haven't won anything, so they don't know how to win trophies yet. You look at Man City; they've won everything. So it's a bit like me entering the marathon. I used to be an athlete. If I enter the marathon tomorrow and I bolt it for the first 20 miles and I'm beating Mo Farah, everyone's on the streets of London cheering me on, I'm completely fucked. I'm about to gas. Mo Farah is just trotting behind me, ready to just hunt me down. This is what's happened in this game. City kept themselves at a comfortable pace where they know that if they beat you and you mess 1 or 2 of your games up, they can still catch you. If it had been like, if City had lost one more game before you started dropping points, I think that would have put a lot more pressure on Man City. But what's the game? The last points they dropped was Forest, wasn't it? If they'd lost, say, the game after that, that would have been it, season over. You wouldn't have drawn all those games. You'd have been a bit more confident. As soon as the favouritism came your way, the pressure was on, wasn't it? Arsenal with the pressure off, perfect. It's like Barcelona.
I still think we were the catalyst of our own downfall.
Yeah, if you look at the games...
Man City didn't drop a game until Brighton. And by that point, they had won the league before that. It was game over before that anyway. So they could take their foot off the gas. They could put their second string out. That's why they drew against Brighton. And that's why they lost to Brentford. Because they knew for a fact the league was done. And you're like, you know what? Let's just put our kids out, put our second team out, and let's get ready for the next two cup finals.
If you'd just not drawn one of those 3 games, that would have just put a little bit of crank on when you played them in the league. Like if you'd won the Southampton game or you'd won the West Ham game, you would have still been closer. The points would have still been relevant. Where as soon as you got to that City game, they knew it was beat you and the title was done.
If we beat Southampton like we should have done, then I would have said we got into that City game with a little bit more confidence. You watch the players when they fell to their knees at the full-time whistle when we drew 3-3 against Southampton. They were spent. They knew excuse my language, they fucked it. They knew they fucked it after the Southampton game. And then the City game, they were just bored of our ideas. So I can understand where the logic that you're coming from here, but that draw against Southampton was the death of our season.
Sorry,
can I say though? Oh, sorry, go on, man.
Sorry. So I just want to jump in. I think you guys are being harsh on Arsenal, right? Because people don't realise it wasn't the first half of the season. Isn't when Man City get going, right? It's the second.
Yeah.
So after Christmas is when it's the same with us. We've been there 3 times. We've literally won every game possible. They won every game. The thing with them is they will not. As soon as you make one error, they will eat you alive. And this is what I kept saying to Arsenal fans. You're winning now, but you didn't have your bad patch yet. They had their bad patch. You just, the only reason why it looked worse for you is because as much as people were saying this, Saliba was your leader. As soon as he left, it's like they couldn't, there was no order. It seemed like they gave up easier. When he was there, it's like he helped them battle through the tough times, whereas he left and then everything just capitulated. I'm not really going to knock Shevchenko because I found that within your team setup, he played really well. You could potentially say that he's similar. It sounds like you're saying he's similar to like a Trent where you could get forward, but then have a little bit of mess up at the back. But the thing is, when you had the 2 solid centre backs, right, Saliba, no one's talking about it. And this is what I say similar to Trent. When we had cover in midfield and he's bombing forward, you don't really see his frailties because you had the legs in midfield to cover. As soon as you don't have that, you see him exposed all the time. And that's literally, I just think you're being harsh. I just think you lost. What people don't realise is like everybody laughed at Liverpool when we lost Van Dijk and he got injured in the Everton game. But people don't realise sometimes there's that one player that you just need. Do you know what I mean? And sometimes, and I think Arsenal fans saw it this season. As soon as he got injured, different. You just missed him. I was watching the games and I was like, he's the one person that's not there and now you're missing him. And that's the only thing that was different.
Our defence was not the same when Saliba went down injured against Sporting.
Yeah, agreed.
I said that straight
away.
Also, for as much as you say they bottled it at the end, which they clearly did, Bournemouth and Aston Villa, would you not say that's the first time Arsenal have actually shown a bit of bottle to come back into these games?
Yeah,
2-3 years ago, they just lost those games 3-0 and rolled over.
No, I was, you saw doing my watch-alongs. I was buzzing when those goals went in. But I also said in my match review, I said, those are warning shots. Those are warning shots, Don't keep doing this again, because at some point, you're not going to come back from it.
All right, we do need to move on. I will get back to you, Carl, with your team of the year before we go. We are now going to move on to Liverpool. Ren, let's not hide it. It's not a good year. 5th place is not what Liverpool want to do. There were good moments and there was a good finish. What is your overall rating for the season this year, Ren? And why did it go wrong?
If I'm honest with you, pushing a 6 maybe. Only doing that because we beat Man United probably 7-0. But other than that, I think the season, I knew it wasn't going to be good from the first few games. I think most of our team was tired. I don't think people realized the season we had before. We were in every game possible. Then we went into this unnecessary international games. Had a little bit of a break, came straight back in. I don't think they rested properly. Then we had the World Cup. If you saw coming to the end of the season, it seemed like our players got more into the swing of it. But then you saw frailties again in terms of we didn't really recruit well again. Our midfield, we had 2 injury-prone players that for some reason we never wanted to sell. We had Carvalho, who was on the bench every time. He looked like a little bit of hope bombing forward, but then Klopp for some reason didn't like him. He's saying that he needs development, but then you could potentially argue Elliott is the same, because last season Carvalho was playing every game for Fulham, comes into a team and now he can't start. But I honestly think it was that. It's just that I think this season, once we get a full pre-season under us and we have hopefully buy a few midfielders, I think we will be pushed back, because you could see that in reality, I know everyone's saying that we looked awful this season, which we did. You could see glimpses of ourselves coming back, especially now with that front 4 we have. And I think Darwin will kind of hit the ground running next year if we recruit right.
I was going to say Darwin Núñez. I like him. I think he's a great player. What's your view on him? Do you think he's someone who just needs something to go right as a footballer? I think he's an outstanding footballer. Why didn't he score the goals that he should have this year?
Do you know what it was? I think he wasn't like a Haaland that hit the ground running. I think sometimes you need that extra season, and I think he's just one of those players that needed to fill the league. He came from like Portugal, so it was a bit of I don't think it's as rough and as fast paced as England. I think Haaland was kind of built for it, so that's why I think the two strikers adapted differently. But when you see his runs and what he can do, he has. I just think once he gets it right, I think he's just going to be scoring probably similar. I'm not going to go ahead of myself, but I think he'll be scoring at least over 20 if he just takes the chances he had. He's had so many. I don't know why he wasn't composed, but it's just maybe it's the whole team's.
He gets in the right position, though, doesn't he? He does everything
all the time.
right. He does it right. He's a fantastic footballer, and you can slag him off all you want. I see a baller in him. Just needs to score the goals.
100%.
Performance of this season, I'm sure that we know what one this will be.
Oh yeah, no, there's only the one really. It's the Liverpool versus United.
What a game that was!
It was, to be honest with you. I thought that's when we were going to kick on, because I think that was when we could have got top 4. But for some reason this season, I'm not going to lie, I actually thought we didn't deserve top 4, so I wouldn't have been happy if we got it. I think that I don't really want to say Man U deserved, but in terms of like the other 3, I think they deserve being there. Do you get what I mean? I think Newcastle, I wouldn't have liked to knock them out. I think they deserve it. Man City's always going to be there. Arsenal deserve it. I think we're just a little bit behind United, but in terms of the top 4, should have been the way it was. And we were probably lucky we got top 5. Sorry, should I say?
Player of the season.
Is it for any team?
For you.
Do you know what? I'm gonna. I know it might seem like everybody's going for him, but I'm gonna say Haaland, because
when he first Liverpool. For Liverpool.
Liverpool. Sorry, I thought you were talking about anyone.
Not a trick question,
hard
man.
one.
No, sorry. Do you know what? I don't even know. I'm probably I'm probably have to say the normal person. I'm going to say Salah, because obviously he still scored when we wasn't doing too well, but it was a bit hard for me. Sorry, I know it took a while. I don't even know who. I couldn't say who was good this year. It just always seemed alright. Wasn't great. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Just fair enough.
Yeah.
I didn't ask Luca or Chelsea player of the year because they didn't have one. So it's fine. I think Salah would be the normal choice. He still scored a good amount of goals. He still had a good stat sheet, so you still can't take it away from him. Phil, just before we go to Team of the Year with Carl and Ren, why didn't it go right for Liverpool?
I think Ren's been quite open and honest with that, and I think a lot of pressure went on Klopp this year, and a lot of questions were put in his direction. I think he's embarrassed himself a couple of times this year as well, hasn't he? He's come under a bit of heat with what he did with the fourth official, and then there was that whole was it Andy Robertson and the elbow incident with the
What a
lineup.
baby!
And you think to yourself
baby.
Right, Souness. But that sort of stuff doesn't reflect good on a club like Liverpool, does it? That's sort of like stuff you'd see on like a Sunday. And you're trying to just get one over on everything. You think hardly touched him, he fell to the floor, ran around crying. But that was at the time where everyone was going and having a go at the officials as well. So you think and Klopp hasn't addressed what was it? Giving Milner an extra year in. Then he got all these kids in, and he chose to either play all of Dad's army or play all the kids. He didn't blend them properly. So it was there was a midfield where they had Curtis Jones, Carvalho, and Elliott with a midfield, and I was thinking, well, they could have played Hendo with those or Fabinho with those. But then they played the next game. They played bloody Milner, Hendo, and Fabinho, and you thought, well, that's just the polar opposite. So I think he got it wrong himself. He let Trent manage him. In the end, he ended up giving Trent a position rather than Trent doing what he'd asked him to do. So although I think it's better when he's playing in that position, he didn't show the balls to sort of say it's my way or the highway like Eric Ten Hag would have done with Ronaldo. I think he sort of did bow a bit. He is passionate, but I think he has to just have a little bit of a look at himself in the mirror. But I think they'll be better next year. I think as well, they've spent money, but it didn't work out. I think they missed Mane as well. I think he did carry them second half of last season. Salah was flat after the AFCON. Mane scored a lot of goals in a 1-0 win to even give him a chance at that quad. And I think Mo took a bit of time this year to get going, but then it looks back to his normal vintage now. So I think Diaz back, all the deadwood out, they'll probably kick on next year. And I think it doesn't help Darwin when he's got all those players across the front that can play. He thinks, he's going to put Jota on if I haven't scored. He's going to put Firmino on if I haven't scored. I think if he's the out-and-out striker and you've got 5 rotating in that 3, it'll be better for him rather than having 7 rotating in that 3.
Yeah.
Ren, just before I go to Carl for Team of the Year, again, how important is it to get a few midfielders in next year? For me, that's the weak area.
I think it's very important, and I'm not with everybody that's on getting super big names. Obviously, I think the one big name I think we could have done with was Bellingham, so I'm not contradicting myself there. But in terms of other players, I want to just go back to what got us to this place in the first place. So go back, buy certain players from teams that just do the job. We don't need technical players in Klopp style. What we need is workers that don't get injured. We got all these technical players to kind of come in, obviously Chamberlains and Caters, just injured all the time. Thiago injured all the time. What we need is the workers again, so then the other people can come in. And that's all I want, people that can win the ball back, run the whole game, just do the simple stuff well. And I'm just hoping with this new management, I feel like one of the areas that cost us as well is losing both of our managing directors, our sporting directors. We lost 2 good ones, and now we've got a guy that I don't know if he's done the best deals, but just have to wait and see what he can do. I think he works well with low budgets. So I think I'm just waiting to see what he does, and then I could kind of decide what our season will look like.
Great. Carl, are you still there, buddy? I hope you calm down now and you don't chin me. We have got a little bit of time, but we do need to get the next guest on. So you've both got 90 seconds. I'll start with you, Carl. Your Team of the Year.
Okay, so I've gone for 4-2-3-1. Edison in goal. Back 4, Kieran Trippier, William Saliba, Ruben Diaz. And this might shock you, but I've also gone for a Kanji. No one's spoken about Kanji at Manchester City, and he's literally tore it up this season.
Yeah, he's had a good year.
Defensive midfield partnership: Rodri, Casemiro, playing in the number 10, Kevin De Bruyne, Saka on the right, Rashford on the left, and Haaland up top.
What's this leaving Kane out all about? He scored 30 fucking goals.
He's an empty calorie scorer. He does Luigi by winning fuck all.
Cheers, Cheggers Carnage. Ren, what's your team? Fire away, mate.
So 4-3-3. I've gone for Ramsdale in goal because he's had a good season. Trippier, Saliba, Mings, Shevchenko. I said Mings because I just had to get an Aston Villa player in there because I think from where they was when Gerrard left to where they are now to be in Europe, I think that's been a great job that Emery's done. And I think Mings obviously being dropped by Gerrard, which happened at the beginning of the season. Now he turned that around. In midfield, I've got Odegaard, Casemiro, and Bruno Griezmann. Is that the Newcastle guy? I don't know if I said his name right. Up top, I've gone for Wilson, Haaland, and Kane because I think I wanted to try and get a Liverpool player in there, but I think Wilson deserves it because of what he done come the end of the season to push them into top four. Haaland speaks for himself, and Kane. If that guy does not leave Tottenham next year, I think somebody has signed on him because he literally should be winning something now, man. With the amount of goals this guy scores, it's unreal. I think if he goes United, I think they win something. I think they challenge for the league.
Stevenage fan, Munzy. He even knows he's a Stevenage fan. Anyway, I just want to say thanks to Carl and Ren for coming on. I really appreciate your time. Ren, anything you want to add, mate?
No, thanks for having me. It's been great.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you.
Carl, I know you've got a few shout-outs. Go on, fire away, mate.
Yeah, big up to Munzy. He needs to get on with his channel very, very soon because he's been slacking as of late. I'll have a review of the Arsenal post-mortem on Friday night at some point. And got a little bit, and if anybody's noticed on my backdrop, you notice I am planning on doing something a little bit different next week. So please bear that in mind. Make sure your notification bells turn off on my YouTube channel. So yeah, KB Sports. So
Carl, thank you so much, and we'll see you soon on our next live.
See you soon, guys.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, mate.
And well, we're supposed to have two guests, but Oris hasn't shown up as feared. You might have messaged me, but we do have to finish the show. We've got the big guns on, the big guns, the main man, the Wally, Ollie. Did he ask his nan for permission? Maybe. How are you, mate?
I'm good. It's good to be back on the channel, mate.
You've grown up a bit.
Yeah, well, I got a haircut today and I got some new headphones as well, so that's probably the difference between me. And I'm wearing England top instead of the Arsenal top.
Oh, we can see that. How old are you now? 19?
19, yeah. 19. Yep, they dropped a while ago, mate. This is time, by the way, this is time for Munzy to click off the stream, so you can...
You two behave.
Big up.
This is my channel. You can slag each other off, but behave.
Yeah, Munzy, time to get out of it.
No more. You two can have your little riff somewhere else. Ollie, where's your lolly?
Big up, Laura. Laura, big up.
Oh,
man.
Now we've had...
No, stop it.
This is the comedy hour. Ollie, it's good to hear from you. Obviously, I spoke to Manny and Carl. They were both quite, I would say, negative. I know we're not going to get that from you.
Yeah, honestly, that Carl guy is the most deluded Arsenal fan I've ever seen in my life. Like, he's slagging off Arteta, he's slagging off, like, the season. Like, trust me, I'm going to be the complete opposite of Kyle. You wait and see.
But far away. What do you think of the season? What would you give out of 10?
For me, I'd give it an 8 out of 10. It's been a good season. Obviously, the ending wasn't great. I'd probably give the start of the season a 9, and then the ending a 5 because of what happened. And I agree with Carl. You know, it all went wrong when we drew to Liverpool. We were on a good winning streak before that, and then we drew to Liverpool 2-0 lead, 2-0 up against West Ham as well. Bottled that. 2-0 down against Southampton and we came back 3-3 draw. And then what ruined it as well, the Man City loss. Obviously, we lost to Brighton. And then somehow Man City dropped points in the last game and we somehow win 5-0. So, honestly, it's so annoying. But we obviously we moved, but the season started off well. Obviously, a few wins in a row. We beat Bournemouth, we beat Fulham, we beat Crystal Palace on the open day. We beat Brentford double. Obviously, Brentford. We
Not a
beat them
double, 4 points.
Who would we draw to them at home?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, well at least we did better than Man City. They Man City lost to Brentford twice, so at least we got a positive there. But look, Man City, the best team in England after Arsenal, of course. Before Arsenal, but yeah. Listen, I predicted them to win the league. I predicted Arsenal to finish fourth, and everyone laughed at me. And look where they are now. So, but look, the season we're going to be top of the league for a few months now in alphabetical order, so that's something to celebrate about. But no, it's been a good season. I'd said 8 out of 10. I'm looking forward to announcing my team of the season as well. Got a few Arsenal players in there.
We know that.
I've just got to big up some players. Big up Ramsdale. Obviously, I have a fan account of him. I'm actually taking a break on that account for a while. But yeah, he's been great for us this season. Unfortunately, doesn't make it in my team of the season, which is a bit of a spoiler. But we'll wait and see who my goalkeeper is. But yeah, he's been brilliant.
We will go early. We will.
In defence, Saliba, obviously, he's been injured recently. He's been good. Gabriel, Ben White's been exceptional at right back. Zinchenko, left back, been brilliant.
The whole team.
Of course, my boy Odegaard been amazing. Xhaka, Partey, Jorginho's proven everyone wrong. Trossard's done well. Jesus and Nketiah did well when Jesus was injured. Saka, I could name the whole freaking team, man.
Ollie, this is literally the comments were spastic. Everyone just come in their pants when you came on. So this is not disappointing. Ollie has been.
Who needs a rest, man? Who needs a rest?
Good to hear you. I've missed your voice.
Yeah,
I've missed you a bit. So, what was your favourite performance? Your team performance of the season?
It's got to be the Bournemouth game. 2-0 down. Reece Nelson with the last minute winner. There's also a few others. The Aston Villa game when we were 2-0 down. We came back to him 4-2 with Jorginho's screamer, and then obviously that goal from the corner where Martinez went out for the corner, and then obviously it was an open goal for Martinelli. A few other games, obviously the first game of the season because it was the occasion. The first game, we won. We went on a winning streak. A few other games as well. The Brentford 3-0. I could name a lot of games, but the draw against Liverpool as well. Getting a point at Anfield. The 5-0 win against the Wolves as well. That's definitely up there. But for me, it's got to be the Bournemouth game. Last minute goal. Reece Nelson, super sub. He's been brilliant for us when he's come off the bench, or sometimes. But yeah, that's definitely one of my performances of the season. The Bournemouth 3-2 at home.
Ollie, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions in team here. If there's anyone who wants to pop back on and talk to Ollie, you're more than welcome. But we're only going to stay on for another 10-15 minutes. Anyway, Ollie, we continue, and I will go to Phil. Ollie, player of the season. What player for Arsenal is your player of the season?
It's got to be Odegaard for me.
Don't name 7 players, one player.
No. So Odegaard is my number 1, and then top 3 has got to be Ramsdale and Saka maybe. But look, Odegaard's been exceptional. The goals he scored in great occasions. That goal against Liverpool, brilliant goals he scored. Screamers, great goals, derbies, especially the North London derby. He's been our captain. He's been a great captain. He's started basically all our matches. And you got to, big up some other people. I'm not going to big up the whole team like I
Your
did.
name and say you've already done this.
No. And then Ramsdale's been great as well. Loads of clean sheets. Been a great.
Elneny?
No way. Right, he's been the worst player in the season, mate. He's been the worst player. Hey, thanks, Carl. Back on. Oh my god.
Phil, I know you've been itching. Anything you want to add about Arsenal? Anything you want to say to Ollie?
No, I've watched Ollie on some of these other shows, and they all got overexcited, like a load of Arsenal fans like me and Graham all know. And it's almost like you're asking for it. You just think when everyone was being pessimistic before Christmas, saying, "Oh no, we'll blow it," it was going along nicely. As soon as everyone, a little bit of good was happening, it was like pandemonium happening outside the Emirates. It was like as if you just won like back-to-back Champions Leagues because you beat bloody Bournemouth away. And as soon as that happens, you look and just say the wheels are going to fall off, and it's going to be hilarious. Because like at the end of the day, like whose fault was it? It wasn't VAR for the Tony goal that cost you the league. It wasn't other stuff that cost you the league. It was 3 draws and a loss all in a row that cost you the league at the wrong time. And if I'm being honest, like, yes, you did bottle it. You should be winning from that position. But if you look yourselves in the mirror and say, like, you versus City, you lost 3 times to them in the league, home and away, and got knocked out in the cup. And man for man, they are a better team than you. So you have to sort of take it on the chin you lost. But you were in such a position you probably shouldn't have, if that makes sense.
Yeah. What do you say to that, Ollie?
No comment. I'm speechless.
And Graham's not got the premium account on anymore, so we can't put that picture up anymore.
You're shoving Ollie.
The Wally with the lolly.
Mouth like a cock. Ollie, go on, mate. You've been talking about it. What's your team of the year?
Team of the season. So I don't know if anyone said it yet, but my goalkeeper is David De Gea. Most clean sheets, got the Golden Glove. Obviously, he's been a bit shaky like most goalkeepers, but up there you've got to say Ederson. I think Carl said Ederson. Obviously, Man City won the league. And then obviously Ramsdale, but I don't want to put too many Arsenal players in. I mean, Alisson, but Liverpool haven't done that well.
You're naming every goalie now.
yeah, right. De Gea in goal. Right back, I've gone with. Everyone said Trippier, so I'm going to go with Ben White. He's been exceptional for Arsenal. Right back, centre backs is Saliba and Ruben Dias. Left back Zinchenko. I'm going with a 4-4-3. In midfield, I've gone with Odegaard, De Bruyne, and Casemiro. Then I've gone with Haaland, Kane, and Saka up front. Or I could possibly put Salah and Martinelli in there, but I've gone with Haaland, Kane, and Saka. Possibly
what
Salah.
What team that is, Ollie? How long did that take you to get that team going?
I made it a few days ago, mate. I just put it in my notes.
Just on copy paste Arsenal's last 11.
No, I copied and pasted Arsenal's the last 11, and I just changed a few names.
Haaland and De Gea in, and that's the team.
No one else wanted to come on, but it's been a fantastic show today. I didn't know if I put this one on, but Munzies just wanted to say big up. Thanks for the 1K. So thank you, Munzie.
Yeah, big up from
And I know stop it, behave. I know Munzie and you are not the best friends, but this is mine and Phil's channel, so you behave, young.
Well, he blocked me for no reason, so that's why we don't like it.
Yeah, I know, but you're on our show. We'll protect you. But like I said, Greg, you better keep this guy. Yeah, we will.
Yeah,
this guy's going to be our. This is why we brought him on last.
I'm the special guest every stream.
The last guest, it was brilliant. Because I didn't want him on with Carl because I thought it would have been fucking Claude and Ty, as Maka said.
Yeah, Ty from AFTV.
Yeah. I wish I've got the premium account now. We could do the. No, anything you want to add, Phil? Anything about the season? Anything that you want to add before we go?
No, I think just Ollie's on here for Arsenal, but like you've had quite a lot of Arsenal people on. You spoke about Arsenal. I don't think Ollie said anything too different to what the other said. Been a bit overly enthusiastic about it, but I think an 8 out of 10 isn't a bad score.
It isn't.
When you look at it, like you said, right, you bottled it. You were 93%.
Yeah, no.
Of the year,
I was
you were top.
Say that. I mean,
so you can't say that you were shit if you were top of the league for 93% of it.
Exactly.
So you were top of it bar like what 3 games or whatever, 4 games.
Yeah.
So you can't say it was like a 5 or a 6 season. It's just like I said before, your players haven't experienced it. They've won an FA Cup, some of them in COVID with no fans. That's not experiencing big atmosphere pressure games. So yeah, same with Arteta. If they go next year and they've learned from all that, then it's worth it. But I'd have just said if you finish in the top 4 again next year and have a decent run in the Champions League, say like last 16 quarterfinals, you've probably done a good year.
Ollie, go on, answer that.
My realistic prediction is Arsenal to win the league, win the FA Cup, semi-finalists in the Carabao Cup, and quarter-finalists in the Champions League.
Very specific with the Carabao Cup semi-final there, but
Well, they're not going to win the Carabao Cup. I mean, we could
We're
even
not
make
going
it
to win
the
the
final.
quadruple. That's asking too much.
No. No, I said we'll win
The
the
year
double.
after.
We'll win
The
the
year
double.
after, Ollie will say.
We'll win the double or the quadruple. Sorry,
Do
the
we the
treble.
year had 7 fucking Arsenal players in it?
We'll win the quadruple in the next 10 years. Clip this now. We'll win the quadruple in the next
Fucking
10
clip
years.
him. Fucking hell.
I'm just waiting for him to win the Champions League and be the first team to bottle the
We're in the
FIFA
Champions
World
League.
Club
Ollie's going to
Championship.
fucking streak naked down fucking Wales.
Yep.
Make
I'm
sure
going to
sort
my
you
nan's
out.
house. Boom. Oh my God.
Well, you have to get permission first.
Yeah.
You
From all
might
the
be
neighbours.
babysitting you.
Oh my God. I'm 19
right.
now. I don't need a babysitter.
Ollie, before we go, big yourself up. Big your channel up.
Do you want to do the solo screen thing or?
No, keep it like this.
Alright.
Okay.
Yeah, of course. Make sure you go subscribe to my channel. I've got a stream tomorrow, 7 p.m. It's going to be similar to this stream, apart from the 1K special, because I did that a while ago. But yeah, we're going to be reviewing the season. Obviously, I took a 2-week break because because of Arsenal consistently losing and stuff like that. But yeah, back again with another stream, season review. Hopefully getting a full panel. So yeah, go subscribe to Steve Sinclairo. I'm on 1,071 at the moment, so let's get that up. 1.1k by the end of the year is the big aim. Recently celebrated my birthday as well. I went to Highest Point Festival, videos up from that, and I recently went to Big Church Festival, videos up from that as well. So yeah, make sure you check out my stream tomorrow. Go like it. Go set the reminder. And also make sure you check me out on Instagram, ollie.sinclair556. That's my main account. Please go follow me there. And I'm taking a break, but just still go follow Aaron_Ramsdale so fan page 1. And finally, before Graham says you have 10,000 channels, go follow my TikTok, Ollie's556. I've just done 2 new TikToks. Go follow me there and like those 2 TikToks. And apart from that, yeah, Dietrich and Care on YouTube, please do subscribe to me. And yeah, that's it. Any other Snapchat, anything else, just please DM me. You can also find me on Tinder.
What's your grinder, Ollie?
I don't do
Ollie,
that, man.
thank you very much for your life story. I'm going to say goodbye to you now. See you later. Thank you.
See ya. Bye, go.
He's a busy man.
I need to compose myself.
Phil, before we go, 1,000k. How's it feel? We 2 years hard work.
It's 1k, not 1,000k.
I mean, sorry,
it'd be like 1 million.
Yeah, 1,000k.
1k.
1k. 1,000. Just say 1,000 then.
Yep.
1k.
Well, it only took us two years, so we might get 2k in another 2 years, hopefully. But who would have thought it after what was that first video we did, and it got about 7 views and 2 subscribers in a month or whatever it was, and slowly stuck at it, kept doing it. Yep.
Been Ollie.
Oh yes. Yeah, no, just all I just. But seriously though, like we said, who would have thought that 1,000 people would be interested in what we have to say? So thanks everyone who's subscribed, everyone who's even watched or liked one of the videos. Obviously can't do anything without you guys. So yeah, cheers for being part of it, and we're gonna carry on bigger and stronger.
Yeah, I'd say the same. Thank you for everyone who subscribes, who watches, who likes, who comes on the show. I just want to say a big thanks to obviously Phil for coming on today. Obviously, it's our channel. But I just want to say firstly thank you to Luke and Jay for co-hosting with me for the first 2 parts. And then a big thank you to Robert, Luca, Andrew, Manny, Shaham, Bez, Marvin, Ren, Carl, and of course the Super Ollie for all coming on today and being part of this fantastic show. And I've seen a few people on the obviously the comments, obviously Laura and Maka. Thank you so much for all your comments, and Stuart and Ella, of course, and Sports Capital, and anyone else that's come on during the shows that's been on and off the show commenting. I just want to say thank you to everyone today, but everyone in general that's helped us over the years, everyone that does the predictions. I really appreciate all your support. I know a few of you guys are not on here tonight, Mark Hill, Reese, and obviously Dougie and his long videos, which are fantastic to edit. But thank you to everyone. It's been it's been hard work. It can get grueling at times. And thank you again, Carl. I appreciate that. We have to get to this stage and we'll carry on. But yeah, Phil, we've done really well here, mate. I know I get people to put the videos, but you do all the hard work getting them on. So it's been a team effort. So I just want to say thanks to everyone in all parts.
Yeah, I think it was a good turnout today as well. Like, quite a few
Yeah,
lads
it's been
on, so-
good to get the show. Unfortunately, we weren't able to see Marco and even Jordan. Unfortunately, I think we know why, because Leeds are
Oh
shit.
yes, and the
Leeds are
Celtics
falling
lost
apart.
last night as well.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's it. Anything you want to add, mate?
No, that's it, mate. Just have a couple of weeks now, get the transfer window out of the way, and then we'll come back with some different stuff next year.
And yeah, I've got Twitter. I had a post on Instagram recently. I've got Facebook. I've got Snapchat. Follow me there. Unlike Ollie, I don't have Grindr.
I can download Magnum without using
I
your
have a
hands
Magnum
in
up
one
my
bite.
face, like a fucking cock. But no, all jokes aside, Ollie, thank you so much. Entertainment, it was brilliant. And again, thank you to everyone that come on. Everyone was really good. I know I had to be a bit pushy with time today, but we actually did it. We finished on time. Fucking hell, we done it. So thank you to everyone. And Phil, thank you. You'll see us soon in the pre-season for another live.
Oh yes.
But yeah, we'll do transfers and all that. But you'll see this week, tomorrow, you'll see the Europa League final preview with Luke. Myself and Johan have done the FA Cup. I've done Europa League, Conference League, and Phil will do the Champions League. So all these finals are still to come in the next week or so.
Yeah, I haven't made
So
any of
please
these
don't
yet, so
forget
don't go promising stuff.
No, they will be on there. Ain't got a choice. But again, thank you very much, and I'll just say bye-bye. Thanks, Phil.
Cheers, guys.
See you later.